Hello and welcome to episode 129. Yes, I got it right. Of the DaebakCast. This is a weekly podcast where usually three of us, but lately it's been like two of us or three of us that are not the normal lineup or whatever. But anyways,
2.5 hosts.
Yes, basically, come together each week to talk about K-pop and whatever's current in the industry. This week we got some album reviews. Nate was going to be maybe joining us today, but he ended up not feeling well, so he's not here either. And one of these days we'll finally get back into our groove of the three of us on every week.
Yeah,
it's just
I told
been
them last
hectic.
week. Yeah, I told them last week, like off camera, we were just like we're hardcore teasing that OT3 reunion because we haven't done it in a while. So, because I haven't been on, you haven't been on, that sort of thing. So, yeah, Jacob's alive, I'm alive.
Yep. So I'm back after a while. Andrew's back after a while as well. So this should be a pretty cool episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, as always, I'm joined by Andrew, who usually has three things.
Number one, assuming I can get this up tomorrow, I'm going to be seeing Twice in concert on Sunday at Prudential Center. If you're there, say hi. I should be there with my family, and I'm going to be meeting some other people from Truly Daebak fam. I know, I think Sam's going. I know Baron's going. I know Egg's going.
Yep.
I don't know who anyone else is going, but if you're going, say hi. I'll be very excited.
Nate's going to the concert, but at a different location.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he's going to the one in Chicago. So he's going after we film with Umu. So yeah, that should be fun. Number two. Oh nope, that's the wrong one. Number two is there was over the weekend or last weekend there was. Basically, like half of Manhattan had a blackout, which was very interesting. I think
so many blackouts.
Yeah, I know, because you couldn't join us. You couldn't join us last time because you had a blackout, and then New York City had really a blackout. Not related, by the way. You live like hundreds of thousands of miles away from friggin'
hundreds of thousands of miles. No, I don't even think it's 1,000.
Anyway, I think there was like a Jennifer Lopez concert going on at Madison Square Garden while the blackout happened, and then
they were advertising that at KCON.
Yeah.
I wonder if it happened during the concert. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, no, it happened during the concert, and they had to reschedule it for that Monday. That following Monday because of because they lost power. So yeah, that was interesting. I was like talking to my mom. I was like, I'm just glad it didn't happen during KCON. Imagine if it happened like the week before.
Oh man, that would have been terrible.
You're like, just
all the artists would be like, what's happening?
Undertaker.
And then the audience storms the stage.
No, the Undertaker shows up. That's what everyone knows. That's what happens whenever the lights go out. And number three, just a bit of a family sort of thing. Last weekend, I saw my sister started taking these like, I think it's called like aerial silks or something like that. Basically, it's like, think like Cirque du Soleil type shit, like
trapezes and stuff.
Not really, like just like on like using like a silk like ribbon type thing. So my sister did her first performance with that, so that was pretty cool. I recorded it before my phone ended up falling into the depths of Penn Station, but yeah, it was cool. My sister does dope stuff. You can follow her on Instagram at Hang with Mish and My Weather. That's a
Hang with her.
Hang with Mish and My Weather is a Paramore reference. She loves Paramore, but yeah, that was cool. Those are my three things. Nothing else than that in terms of programming, I guess. But I guess I covered it.
Yep. All right. I guess with that, we can get right into the review, starting with...
You don't have Blown Out.
I don't have Blown Out. Actually, I think I'm back to not knowing where it is again. Because to be honest, I thought about it the other day and I didn't know where it was, so it's lost again.
That's gonna be our first Patreon tier. Is just like we get like $5 a month, so we can afford to buy you a new Blown Out copy.
Buy me like a stack of Blown Outs. Like just I have an arsenal of extras.
Like seriously, so actually, you know what we should do? We should leverage our internet celebrity. Somebody tweet like at Tableau that you lost your copy of Blown Out, and for him to send you a new copy.
Dude, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, so we should leverage our minor internet celebrity to have people bother Tableau while he's touring.
Definitely. All right. Without further ado, we'll get into the first review, which is Baekhyun from EXO with his solo debut, which was titled City Lights. This is a mini album, and are you reading this or am I? Or?
Yeah, we'll just trade off. We'll
Okay.
just go one after another. So I'll read off for this. So yep, this is Baekhyun, City Lights. Yeah, I'm surprised it took him this long to get a solo. Granted, I feel like they're kind of just rushing EXO solos now that everyone's just getting military service now. So yeah, they're just giving everyone like final projects before they have to all enter the military. So yeah, this will be the first review. Starting us off, we have the lead single off of the album entitled UN Village. Now, when I first listened to this or saw the title, I'm just like, what the heck is UN Village? Apparently,
Yeah, I don't know. It's like
Apparently,
the Olympic Village or something.
no. Apparently, it's like think like Gangnam in Gangnam style. Like basically, like
Oh, Gangnam?
it's like a really like affluent like neighborhood in like Seoul
Okay.
or something. I don't know why. I don't know why it's called UN Village. If you know why it's called UN Village, please explain to us in the comments. But yeah, I'm guessing that was sort of the inspiration behind the song, or just he's gonna take this person to UN Village. I don't know. It must be something very exciting. Anyway, onto the actual song. It's definitely a lot more experimental than I thought Baekhyun would do in terms of music. Just because when you think Baekhyun, you kind of think like
Ballad.
emotional
coffee shop
ballad type thing.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, so for him to do like almost the entire album is like this like really sensual R&B, PB R&B type thing, like very modern sound. Something I didn't expect it, so it kind of caught me off guard. But I did say, for the most part, I'd say I enjoyed it. Mostly just because Baekhyun's an amazing singer, and I feel like this style of R&B definitely works in his favor. I'd say where it kind of falls short for me is the chorus is just kind of like repetitive and just doesn't go, or doesn't seem as interesting as what Baekhyun was doing in the chorus. So yeah, I mean, that'd probably be the only gripe. Yeah, just overall, it was, I'd still enjoyed it, but I wish the chorus was a bit more exciting compared to the rest of the song.
Yeah. So for me, I thought it was a really nice like hip hop R&B song. I think it's definitely right inside of like EXO's like recent wheelhouse, I'd say.
Oh, definitely.
So
They've
like
been
a
going
lot of
into
these
that
songs in
R&B.
these albums, I could see them being EXO like album tracks or something.
Yeah.
I thought Baekhyun's vocals are great as always. The hook especially I thought was really effective due to its use of like pauses and stuff like that. At first I thought it was a little repetitive in the chorus, kind of like you said, but now it doesn't really bother me. I think it works well enough. And also shout out to the muffled section that they used like in the post chorus. I thought that was really cool.
It kind of reminds you of something like Taemin would do, not Baekhyun. Again, it's just really just different for him, right?
Yeah, I guess maybe it's becoming like a SM thing.
SM, yeah, just experimental. It's weird to think of SM being the experimental label when for so long they were just what was considered what was vanilla in K-pop.
Yeah, I guess SM always has been the one that kind of sets the status quo, but I think in recent years, like what they were talking about at a panel we were at KCON is like more and more recently they're bringing more foreign artists to write songs for them and stuff, and I think that definitely is evidence in recently with how like experimental and different all their different artists' music tend to be.
Yeah, I mean,
compared to the rest of the K-pop industry.
Yeah, SM definitely seems to be at the forefront, or they're the ones spearheading, like bringing in Western or European songwriters. You know, your usual suspects. Yeah, compared to the other big three, because the other big three, like JYP, obviously writes his own, like can write stuff.
Yeah.
You know, YG has Teddy, so there's and they have Kenzie, but I mean they aren't overly reliant on just in-house people.
Yeah. Like I think because definitely like YG is the biggest offender of relying on in-house people. Like Teddy writes half of YG's songs,
more than half.
Yeah. And then JYP, like the don't necessarily use a ton of in-house writers, but they do use a lot of Korean writers, like for example with Twice, Black Eyed Peas song.
Black Eyed Peas song, yeah.
But on the other hand, I guess GFriend is kind of in the middle because they also used David Amber. I think
David
his name
Amber
was.
does a lot of stuff for Twice. So.
Yeah.
You have Nate's notes, or did you have
another thing on the UN Village? I thought visually speaking, the MV was like super beautiful. I really like the aesthetic, like of it going back and forth between the black and white and then the really vividly covered sections. I thought those colored sections, I mean, I thought that looked really nice. I like the aesthetic of it. And it didn't have to cost super expensive to make something like that. So I think it looked really beautiful. So going on to Nate's thoughts, okay, computer, open the, all right, Nate's notes for UN Village. She said, it's got that smooth R&B style that I expect Andrew will love. Accurate.
Yes.
His voice is really good for this type of song. The beat is pretty basic, but the instrumentals are decent. Nothing too special, but they help focus on his voice, which is the highlight of the song. The string part added during the bridge was great. MV is typical R&B MV. See, lots of black and white ambient shots with Baekhyun just singing in front of buildings. Did like the use of alternating between different colors for different scenes in the second verse. So I guess he did agree on me on what he liked, but he wasn't as blown away on the visual side from the MV. But yeah.
Cooper, on the other hand, says, exactly what I wanted from a Baekhyun single, R&B, noir aesthetics, and smooth production. This really lets his vocal color shine, which can get really drowned out in EXO songs sometimes. The MV is extremely beautiful, basically just a photo shoot behind the scenes, but it has a city feel to it too. There's actually some choreography on the live stages, which I wasn't expecting, and there's a body roll, so it's a 10 out of 10 for me. Sure. I didn't have a chance to go check out the live stage, but I'll check that out after. Moving on, we're on to oh god, it skipped on the thingy, but we'll just call it we're moving on to Stay Up by featuring Benzino. I don't know. Is Benzino usually a collaborator with like SM artists? Because that kind of came out of left field.
He did No Matter What with Boa.
Oh yeah, that's like the only other song I've heard him collaborate with.
I've seen him on so many features. Like he features on everything. Let me check real quick in my library.
Yeah, but he usually does a lot. But I mean, him doing like features with SM artists is kind of out of left field. Anyway, this song just kind of threw me for a loop the first time I heard it because because like the opening riff, like the opening vocal, like melody just sounds so similar to this song by Hyorin and J Park called One Step. Like it's the same exact melody and everything. So that kind of, I almost did a spit take the first time I heard it. I was like, wait a second, am I listening to the right song? But yeah, for the most part, I did enjoy this song. Like there's some cool like vocal sections here that I like. Again, like similar to what we got in UN Village.
Yep.
It's produced by Cha Malone, which is nice. And
okay, so that might explain it then.
Yeah, maybe. Did
Cha did he produce the Hyorin song?
No, he didn't. It was Andreas Oberg. Okay. But I mean, obviously.
So I guess it was
connection. The J Park connection.
Coincidence.
I mean, Benzino's feature was all right, but it doesn't really add much to the song. In all honesty.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, I feel like if Benzino didn't show up at all, I feel like the song wouldn't have it would have been. It wouldn't have been
better or worse. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my basic thoughts on it.
All right, so I thought the beat in the song was really nice with the bouncy bass beats they used throughout. I really like the high pitched vocal samples that they used in the post chorus, as well as Baekhyun's ad-libs in the same sections. And then again, I felt like Benzino's feature was a little unnecessary as much as I do like him.
Yeah. What's Nate's thoughts?
Oh, yes. I keep forgetting that I need to read Nate's. Let me pull that back up. All right, so Nate said for Stay Up, I really like the main synth melody introduced right from the start in this song. It's got a very mysterious vibe to it. That vibe is accentuated by the echoes and effects they use to add to his voice. Benzino's feature was fine. His lower rapping voice contrasted with higher singing Baekhyun does.
Cooper said, "I need a charger, big boy." You know that joke, right?
I need a charger, big boy. Yeah. From Reddit.
Yeah. He says, Andrew showed me this. Sounds like a Hyolyn song, but I still love this. Really great copied song. Baekhyun harmonizing with himself he puts in like the asterisk, moi. He literally puts chef kiss in his notes. So
nice.
Next, we have Betcha. This was produced by London Noise, so pretty much regulars at regulars.
SM.
Yeah, they're the go-to, it seems, when you have to do some type of like cool like EDM type track. This is probably my favorite in terms of actually, no, my bad. I'm looking at Ice Queen. Betcha is written by Kendi, produced by the Stereotypes and August Rico. So Stereotypes, obviously.
Okay, either way.
Either way, also pretty much like mainstays
regulars
with
at
SM.
this point.
I wasn't familiar with August Rigo, but apparently he's written for artists like Music Soul Child, Jesse McCartney, Chris Brown. So I definitely feel a bit of like a Chris Brown vibe to the instrumentals.
A lot of Korean like R&B singers definitely go for that Chris Brown vibe, so it's no surprise.
Yeah, well, I think it's just a lot of like SM artists that like we're familiar with. They're all in like their like late 20s, early 30s now.
Yeah,
so all the music,
kind of stuff.
Yeah, all the music they're inspired by was just that 2000s R&B type thing, which I'll get into in some of the other reviews. But yeah, with this, it definitely has the Stereotypes, their signature touch on it. In all honesty, like you can definitely tell with like the type of synths that they use. It's probably the best song on the album for me. And I always bring this up every time we review the Stereotypes, but it's always so cool how there are many different types of R&B they're able to tackle for different artists. So I always appreciate the touch that they're able to add to specific songs while maintaining like each different artist's sort of unique sense of style. So you know, like this song isn't going to be the same as whatever like they write for Red Velvet or Bruno Mars. So that's always a cool thing to see.
Yeah. I thought the auto-tune effect they used on his voice right in the beginning was kind of interesting. It wasn't bad. It was just kind of odd and kind of cool. I like the deeper tone that he uses in this voice. He uses on his voice in this song. The really like full sounding like bing bong sounds. I don't really know what to call them.
Yeah, it's
that
like
they used in the.
Yeah, it's like some weird like pong sound effects or whatever.
Yeah, I thought those were really cool and instrumental. So yeah, overall this is a cool song.
You have Nate?
Oh, Nate.
You'll get used to it.
Every time.
We have 5 album reviews. You'll get it eventually.
All right. Nate says, going on full American R&B with this song. Crappy auto-tune additions included. Okay, he didn't like it. Love the house-inspired instrumentals, though. Absolutely love the chiptune synths for the chorus. This song went from being my least favorite so far with the auto-tune ad-libs to being my favorite because of the absolutely fantastic instrumentals.
Yeah, I'd say again, just you can definitely tell that the touch the Stereotypes add to it, so that's definitely a big bonus to this song. Cooper says, the bass is really nice here, and I love the synths used. The pre-chorus is definitely the highlight of the song, along with the bridge. The claps and rhythms are so Stereotypes, they literally never fail. I agree. They haven't written a bad song whatsoever.
They wrote a little song called...
We saw it live. We saw the song live. Well, not by Bruno Mars, by very, but close enough. Anyway, next we have Ice Queen. This is produced by London Noise. Unfortunately, I don't know, like the instrumentals that they do isn't bad. It's just I don't know. It's just whatever vocal melody that they ended up going with just didn't vibe with me at all.
It kind
just
of like stays in the same region.
Yeah, I feel like you have Baekhyun, who is an incredible singer, so I feel like you can do something a bit more. And London Noise is no stranger to experimental. So I feel like they could have gone, like, a bit, done something a bit more interesting considering the vocal talent they had on hand with this song. It definitely fits the vibe of the album because it's definitely like this whole like sexy vibe to it. But I don't know, it just compared to like I definitely hold London Noise to a very high standard. So just compared to what I'm used to hearing from them, it definitely felt half baked.
So I agree with the hook. I think they could have gone with a more like melodic hook there, but overall, I thought it was still a good song. I think the clear sound that they used in the beginning verses that kind of like swells up as more beats start to populate the space, I thought that was really nice. The drop into the chorus was also pretty like effective in that way as well. Again, I think this is another track that I feel like would fit in on an EXO album as maybe a B-side.
Definitely. And maybe it'd be better off on an EXO album considering like you could add like more interesting harmonies and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
What'd Nate think of it? Because he's been kind of back and forth.
Nate says, another pretty standard, another pretty standard R&B song. I like the sci-fi style synths used, but other than that, the song is pretty unremarkable. Okay. Once again, his voice is great for this style of song, but it's not exactly my cup of tea.
Cooper, on the other hand, says, this is sex music.
He says it in that tone too. This is sex music.
He says, I absolutely love this song, probably my second favorite on the album. The lyrics are also really good. I can't stress it enough how much I love the entire album is smooth R&B. Like, he really gave us what we asked for, unlike Chen. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Chen was kind of a disappointment because a lot of it was just like ballads. And basically, like, Chen and Baekhyun kind of switched. Like, you think Chen with like his incredible belting would do some type of R&B type thing, and Baekhyun would do the ballad. So yeah, kind of an interesting.
I'm surprised. By the way, also that there's no like EXO members featuring on this album.
Yeah, you'd think maybe
like on one track or something.
Maybe they're all too busy recording their own things because everyone's getting rushed to the military.
Yeah, so that could very well be true.
That's my canon explanation for it, at least. Next we have.
Oh yes.
Next we have Diamond.
Yes.
So this one was produced by someone named Darkchild, who like that staging obviously. Darkchild is a huge Grammy Award-winning producer, American producer.
Who's he worked with?
Brandy, Whitney Houston, Mary J. Blige, Toni Braxton, and he did Destiny's Child, Say My Name. So this guy, that's a pretty big name.
Okay.
That's a pretty
a little song called
Say My Name. Yeah. But I mean, like, that's a pretty big name for Baekhyun to be working with. That's actually pretty cool how he ended up writing a song on this. It's such a random thing too. Like, you think he'd write for like a big like an EXO song or like an NCT song or Red Velvet or something like that.
It could maybe be that SM like bought the demo and then reworked it.
Yeah, but that's actually cool to see just them getting that big of a caliber of artist. Also,
definitely,
the song was written by Cold, so yeah, he's just. I think he must be friends with a lot of people in SM. So I mean, he did get
Cold did the lyrics.
Yeah, he wrote the lyrics specifically to it. So yeah, he must have some friends over there because he had a station single, and obviously I think he's featured on some other stuff too. But
nice.
So yeah, you definitely. In this, I feel like this song kind of makes Ice Queen kind of redundant, just because I feel like this was
does the same thing but better.
Yeah, same thing with like 100 times better. Just because, again, this is kind of like the sort of vocal depth I was looking for with a Baekhyun like sexy R&B track, and yeah, so that's why I guess I didn't like Ice Queen as much. You definitely feel that influence of all those female R&B singers that Darkchild has worked with. Definitely, Baekhyun has the range to do it justice, and yeah, I think he fits between Betcha and like Diamond. I feel like he fits this like the model of like 2000s R&B type of music. I feel like he does better with it than just like the sort of modern like PBR&B style stuff that he was doing with UN Village. I feel like I enjoy his voice better in this context.
Yeah, so one thing I like to shout out is I really love the voice synth they use in the beginning. It kind of reminds me of like recent Shiny stuff because they've been doing a lot of stuff with that. Beyond that particular section, not as much, but nonetheless, the vocals on this song especially stood out, I think. I think this is probably the best vocal performance on the album.
By far.
Particularly like in the last like third or so where he's starting to go up into the really high registers.
Basically he's just doing like at some point he's just doing falsetto the entire time almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those ad-libs were amazing towards the end. Yeah, definitely one of my favorite songs on the album. Up there. My actual favorite song is not out yet.
So what did Nate say?
Okay, we're gonna do this again. All right, Diamond. Love how the synths follow his voice in the song. Lots of great synths to accentuate him in the song. This is Nate's new word, accentuate.
Accentuate.
Yeah. Piano does a great job putting a bassline melody too. Overall, one of the more interesting tracks on the album, in my opinion.
Cooper says, Cold Yeet. He says, my favorite song on the album. I didn't know Cold was going to write the catchiest hook on the record. This is more upbeat, groovy R&B I expected than expected as the title track, or more expected than the title track. I bet SM wanted this as the title too. Anyways, this is going to be going on my favorites of the year for sure. So yeah, hopefully Dark Child gets more writing opportunities for SM. Definitely knocked it out of the park here. And closing out the album, we have Psycho, which is a bonus track. It's this like really like ominous sounding song. Again, this stuff kind of reminds me almost of like Taemin as opposed to Baekhyun. So yeah, he's just an interesting sort of direction he's going with. Like it has this awesome build up towards it. But I don't know, it just kind of falls flat once it gets into the actual song too. Like my favorite part of the song is probably the build up, and then the rest of the song I just don't like as much. Which is kind of
Psycho.
It's just kind of a disappointment for me because I wanted to like this song so much. It has this like really cool like again, I love that really cool like ominous vibe to it. Like it felt like from the build up, I felt like it could have been like a title track or something, but yeah, I don't know. It's just another song where I feel like they could have utilized his vocal talent better.
So for me, this is probably my favorite song on the album. I really, really like this song. I thought it had a great use of the like understated sort of like guitar sound. The sound space sounds like super like hazy and smoky. Like it's clear but full kind of. That's why I use like hazy or smoky. Like it's thick. Yeah. Which really helps with the overall tone, like you said, to make it very ominous and like imposing. It clears up really awesomely though in the pre-chorus, which leads to a really satisfying drop. In my opinion, by the way. This is probably my favorite song on the album, so yeah, I'm glad it was included.
Nate.
Oh yes, Nate. Nate says, okay, after a whole album of R&B songs, I did not expect an industrial alternative rock song. I don't know if I'd call it that, but I see what he's saying.
I feel,
yeah. This gave me Taemin vibes like crazy, so he agrees with you there.
Yeah.
Easily my favorite song on the album, so he agrees with me there. Easily the most interesting song on the album. It fits the name of the song as well. Give me more of this. Great way to end the album.
And Cooper says, this song has kind of been ruined by the Discord saying it sounds like an Imagine Dragons song. Oh, well, I'm sure that's why you like it more than Cooper and I do, because Imagine Dragons is like your number 5 favorite band or something.
No, I wouldn't say number 5, but because their third album was kind of trash. The first 2 albums were good, though.
Yeah, the first 2 albums are good. Everyone knows. So that will close out the review section. We'll get into scores. If you're joining us for the first time, we do a 10-point rating system, maximum of 7 points covering the music, maximum of 3 points covering the concept, visuals, choreography, music video, that sort of thing. So, that being said, I give a maximum of 2.5 points for the single. So yeah, I thought it was good. I don't know, it just kind of fell flat during the chorus. 2.5 for the album. Again, I feel like it's kind of it's still good despite me having my gripes with Ice Queen and Psycho. And a 2 out of 3 for concept. Again, I feel like it didn't do anything too ambitious necessarily, but I thought the whole like black and white aesthetic was kind of cool. So 7 out of 10 for me.
All right, so for me, I gave the music a 6 out of 7. I thought the whole album was really nice and it was cohesive overall. Other than that, the only parts I really took away was I felt like Benzino's feature on Stay Up was kind of unnecessary. And then, like you said, the hook in Ice Queen, I think it would have helped it if it was more melodic and it was less kind of like just like it stays kind of in the same region there. So 6 out of 7 overall. So for concept, I gave it 2.5 out of 3. I thought the MV was really cool. And yeah, overall it was really nice aesthetic. So I gave it good points in concept. So overall, I gave a 8.5 out of 10. Great album. Then for Nate, he says, overall, so R&B isn't exactly my favorite thing to listen to, but this album had some nice standouts. I think UN Village was one of the more boring songs in the album and shouldn't have been the single. If you wanted a more R&B single, then Baekhyun or Diamond were better choices. Yep. I'd probably agree with that. But Psycho should definitely have been the single and the whole vibe of the album. He really liked Psycho. And he said the MV was fine, nothing insanely good, but nothing horrible. So music, he gave a 5.5, and concept, he gave it 2 for a 7.5 total.
Okay, Cooper didn't give any closing thoughts. He just gave his score 6 out of 7 for Cooper, 3 out of 3 for concept. So he gave it a 9 out of 10. That's the highest score.
Dude, the
by
MV
far.
was fantastic.
So he probably gave like 2.5 whole points for the body roll. So okay, so putting all of that in the calculator, dividing it by 4, we get a average of 8 out of 10. Pretty good landing spot for it.
Yeah, very very good solo debut.
So what'd you think of Baekhyun's solo debut, City Lights? Did you like UN Village? Should Betcha or Diamond have been the title track? Or do you think Psycho should have been the title track? Let us know in the comments.
All right. So with that, we can move on to the next review, which we have Nature with their comeback EP, I'm So Pretty. Should I read this one?
Yep, that's yours.
All right. So the first track is the title track, the single. And I think this is a really fun comeback song. I said combat.
Combat song, yes.
Yeah, it's a really fun.
When I'm raiding the jungles of Vietnam, I want to listen to Nature's "I'm So Pretty."
Yeah, let me run that back. I think this is a really fun comeback song, and I think this is a big improvement over their previous song.
Oh,
the group vocals in the chorus are super catchy, and then the bassy beat they use throughout the song is nice as well.
So yeah, at first I wasn't sold on it. In all honesty, it just didn't click. But somehow it just managed to click just immediately. I think mostly just because there's this like really cool like piano line that's going on during the verses, like it's like dun 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 dun, yeah, in the background. I mean, I guess to put it in a nutshell, it's basically everything I liked about Some You'll Be Mine, but without that weird like stupid EDM drop. And I mean, like, yeah, I was liking that song until the drop. So basically they just got rid of the drop and made it, if anything, yeah, the chorus is probably the best part of the song, and it's probably one of the catchiest I've heard all year. Like, I've had it stuck in my head for like the past couple of weeks. And I also agree it's by far the best of their 3 singles that they've released. It does get a weird bridge in a way, but I feel like it doesn't really bring down the song too much. And besides, they have a really cool like outro section where they're just kind of like talking and like the instrumentals are going on in the back. MV, it's not too ambitious necessarily. It's very like cute, fun, colorful. girl group MV. Choreography doesn't do much for me though. It's very, 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 very run of the mill when it comes to girl groups. I mean, like the whole thing, like the whole point choreography is just them waving their hands. So I feel like they could have done something better. Like for as much as I knock Some You'll Be Mine, at least they did something interesting for the that weird EDM drop. So this was written by Erica Lidbaum, Claire Rodriguez Lee, and Uwich. So I mean, I don't
think we know any of them.
Yeah, I don't think we know any of them, but I need to keep an eye on them if they're putting out songs this good.
Yeah. All right. So Nate, he says, okay, I did not expect that insane opening. Even though they're a synth, I like the trumpet part. Trumpet in quotes.
I mean, it's like a horn sample, so close enough.
Yeah. Mixed with the awesome piano part, this is a fun, upbeat kind of synth version of a big band sound. I actually like the staccato, minimalistic nature to the singing. It gives the crazy, weird instrumentals the focus. I think it was a good choice since they aren't the most vocally skilled. Damn, burn.
Damn, burn. I mean, I thought it was... Not in this song, but they show in other songs. I feel like they show a lot of vocal talent here. But I mean, this song that you can't really, because it's just group vocals. So,
yeah. All right. Love the bass part and piano part the most. The bridge when it goes full synth pop was awesome. MV was really colorful and fun, but nothing crazy. Choreo was fine, but also not super standout. I did like the styling though. All right. So that was Nate's thoughts.
Cooper says, this is easily the best Nature title track. The previous ones sound derivative, tired, or bland. This one has confidence, sass, and fun instrumentals and a good hook. The MV is their best too, though it's still unremarkable. But for Nugu, they're improving at least. The choreo matches well, but didn't stand out a lot. I mean, I think this song is doing really well compared to like their previous two songs as well. Like it already has like 1.5 million views on YouTube, so it's definitely resonating.
That's pretty good.
It's definitely resonating, especially for a Nugu from like a not sort of known quantity label. So
yeah,
I still don't have a bias in Nature yet, and I have no idea who I should bias. But I feel like Sebom is like the most popular one. I still can't like identify which one's Sebom like off the bat, but. Maybe I'll bias her.
I don't know who she is, but she's my bias.
I don't know. Please let me know in the comments who I should bias from Nature, because I'm open to any suggestions.
Yeah. All right. So next up we have "Shut Up" with an exclamation point in all caps.
In all caps, yes.
Yes. So this was another catchy song to go right after "I'm So Pretty." The brass they used in the instrumental was a nice choice, and I think it always makes for like good like hype in songs. And again, like Nate was saying, it kind of continues the sort of like big band feel they got going on. I thought the layered vocals they used throughout the song was kind of nice. And then I also really like the sort of like call and answer thing they have with the rapper and the rest of the group throughout the song.
So yeah, I agree. It was a good follow-up to "I'm So Pretty." Just very similar vibe, especially with like the horn instrumentals. It's almost got the like with the addition of this sick guitar riff. It's almost like this like 50s like rockabilly type song, which you wouldn't expect from like K-pop, but surprisingly it works, especially in the chorus. Like the chorus is actually pretty cool. Again, nothing that's incredibly like vocally challenging, but it's just super catchy. And I mean, that's all you can really expect from a group like this. So yeah, I like the consistent use of horns in the album. Definitely brings it together thematically with a lot of these upbeat songs. So I feel like this is a sound that can sort of like expound upon for future albums. I feel like it's definitely a niche that they can refine even further. And it's already good now. So I feel like it can get even better.
All right, so Nate, he says, continuing with the crazy big band style instrumentals. This one has more of a vocal focus, and they're doing their best to imitate the vocal style to match the instrumentals. I think maybe he's talking about like the layering they're doing for the sort of big band thing they're doing. The guitar throughout this song is fantastic. I think this kind of song fits Nature really well. It's just upbeat, fun dancing music.
Cooper also likes this song. He says, the song is so funky and fun, definitely my favorite on the album. The real horns add a lot of depth to this song. I also really love the doo-doo-doos with the guitar. Yeah, they vocalize along with the guitar riff. I would really like them to stay with this kind of sound going forward. So yeah, Cooper's definitely in agreement that this is. I think they found their, like, usually with Nugus they usually just like throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. I mean, especially with a group like Nature, like we had Allegro Cantabile, which is basically a super like ballady, or like not ballady, just super like vocal type track cover of an anime song essentially, and then you have some. You have some You'll Be Mine, which is like an EDM track, and I feel like I'm So Pretty is definitely like sort of what they can build off of. Same with Shut Up.
All right, next up we have Race. Let me pull my notes back up. All right, I thought this song was all right. It's kind of a standard girl group mid-tempo pop song.
Yep.
I didn't really have much to say on it, to be honest, because I thought it was kind of underwhelming compared to the previous two songs. I thought the guitar work on this song was pretty nice though.
I mean, you basically said everything I wanted to say. It's just pretty much you hear this on every girl group album, especially for Nugus, so nothing new.
All right, so Nate, he says, moving from the big band brassy sound to a loungy ballad makes a lot of sense. Gets the ballady song on the album while still keeping a bit of a through line on the album. As I mentioned before, their vocals aren't exactly the best, but they do a fine job. The instrumental solo after the first chorus was a great idea and executed really well. All right, so Nate liked the song a lot more than we did.
Yeah, same thing with Cooper. He says, okay, they really brought it for this album. The song is kind of electronic and jazzy combined. The piano guitar is so fucking good. The guitar solos and the poppy synths. Oh, ah.
Wow.
Oh, ah. Is he like Roman Reigns or something? Ooh.
I had no idea.
Yeah, before he punches someone in the face, he says, ooh, ah. He screams it at the top of his goddamn lungs. So...
All right, next up we have I Wish.
Cover of the
WGSN song.
Yeah. One of my favorites, by the way.
All right. Yes.
This not so much.
All right, so overall I thought this was a nice ballad, but once again, it didn't really do that much for me, I feel like. I thought the vocal layering I thought was nice, but again, not much else to say on my end.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good. It's another situation, like I mentioned, Baekhyun's album, where the song after it just makes it completely redundant. So yeah, this one just kind of fails in comparison. I mean, the vocals are nice. Again, they get to show more vocal focus on this, but I mean, it just kind of feels like a waste.
Yeah. All right. Nate, he says, Race was a good bridge between the first two songs and this song being a full-on ballad. Honestly, their vocals on this song were better than I expected. They're improving. Mm-hmm. It's not the most technical ballad or anything, but they did a good job. Nothing too special. It's a girl group ballad.
Mm.
Cooper,
on the other hand, says, "Oh, this song played. I don't have anything to say about it." I mean, that's basically how to sum up.
So much oof.
Yeah. If they just cut this out and just went straight to Little Star, maybe I'd like it better. But yeah. Speaking of,
so moving on, we have A Little Star, which I thought this was much better ballad than I Wish, but like their vocals were nice. The sort of like I don't know. It's hard to describe because again, it's kind of just it's a girl group ballad once again. Mm-hmm. But I thought their vocals on this were much better than on I Wish. So yeah.
Basically, just following up on what you said, just it makes I Wish completely redundant. I feel almost kind of a Soshi like vibe to it, and like or very early Soshi would be right at home off of the first Girls' Generation album.
Yeah, first one or two albums.
Yeah, so I feel like mostly just because the high notes that they hit definitely remind me of stuff that like Soyeon would do. So I mean that's definitely high praise, especially coming from me being a huge Soyeon. So yeah, I feel I enjoyed this ballad a lot better, and I feel like if this was the one that if they had this instead of this and I Wish, I feel like it would have been a pretty solid album in total.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So overall,
Nate.
Nate. Yes. This is the worst forgot I ever did so far in the episode. All right. Anyways, Nate says, I think this type of ballad with more swelling, complicated more swelling, complicated instrumentals fits Nature way better than I Wish. It just feels a bit more uplifting, which I think fits their image well. Definitely like this better than I Wish in terms of ballads on the album. The instrumentals in this song do go to some really cool places. It builds way more than I thought it would.
Yep. Cooper says, this was going how I expected. A solid ballad song, then the bridge happened and the song just exploded and opened up. Wow. One of the best ballads of the year, I'd say, at least from a girl group. So yeah, very high praise coming from Cooper.
Yes. All right. Now, so yeah, my overall thoughts, extremely top-heavy album for me.
Oh, very top-heavy album.
So basically 2 good tracks and then 3, like, tracks that I really can't say much about. So for music, I gave them a 4 out of 7. I think that's more than fair considering less than half the album I liked. A lot, I guess. So music, I gave 4 out of 7. Concept, I gave it 2 out of 3 because I thought the MV was nice. Their styling was nice. It's, it was good. So overall, I gave a 6 out of 10 for the EP.
On my end, I'm giving 3 points for the single just because I felt like I'm So Pretty was just incredible, blew me away. I feel like they've really hit their stride with this, and I'm actually looking forward to the next comeback from them. They weren't really on my radar after they kind of fell off for a bit, but yeah, I'm actually excited to hear what they'll come up with. 2.5 out of 3.5 for the album. So. Yeah, I mean, Shut Up and A Little Star are good, but yeah, Race and I Wish are kind of the lowlights of the album. 2 out of 3 for Concept. Most of that's just basically on just good visuals, and I like the outfits or whatever. Definitely need to step it up a bit with the choreography, but it wasn't too bad. So that's a 7.5 on my end. And again, my grading system's kind of weird, but I'd say that's a very good score for them, being a new goo group. So I'm actually I'm pretty high on this group now.
All right, so for Nate, he says, overall, I think the first 2 songs are crazy and fun and fit Nature perfectly. Race does a good job going from that big band sound and bridging the gap to the ballads with a more loungy ballad. Overall, I think the album had too many ballady songs and should have had more of the first 2 songs, which I agree with. A Little Star did help the album end on a good note though, as it builds really well for a ballad. Nothing stood out too much about the concept, but it wasn't bad or anything. So with that, I kind of agree. Like, it's for a new group like this, I think being so ballad heavy is kind of a mistake. Yeah. Especially if their title tracks are trying to be like super big bandy and hype and
anything but ballady. So
yeah, I think it's just too
safe.
Yeah, exactly. So that's basically my biggest gripe with them. I guess with this album rather.
So what was this? What score did he give?
Nate's score for music, he gave it a 5.5, and concept he gave it 2 for a 7.5 out of 10.
So that's 3 7.5s because Cooper also gave a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay, so I knew I'd be the negative Nancy on this album.
Yeah, its total score would be a 7 out of 10. Again, that's a pretty good score, especially for a new goo group. Yeah. I think we're all looking forward to seeing what they're gonna follow up with on I'm So Pretty. It's just something that came out of the blue for us. So, what do you think of Nature and I'm So Pretty? Who should my bias be? Do you want to see them do more of these like big bandy type of songs? I do, definitely. So leave your thoughts in the comments.
All right, next topic. We have the review for Ailee's comeback, which I feel like she's been gone for forever.
Yeah, it's her first album since 2016.
She's been gone for forever. So we have her new album, Butterfly, which is a full album, which thank God it is if she's been gone for 3 years.
Yeah, she definitely owes us a lot of music. So I'll be talking over this one. I have to rep my fellow New Jerseyan in Ailee. So yeah, like I mentioned, this is her first This isn't her first music since 2016. I mean, she had like "I Will Go to You Like the First Snow" Fever in 2017, but it's her first like solo release since 2016. But there's some like issues going on. She's unable to promote this album because this was her last contractually obligated release for YMC Entertainment, and she plans to do like a Soyeon, like a one-woman entertainment company, and just like do music like that. Cause yeah, I mean, Ailee is a bigger name than any company that she'd join. Essentially, like she's huge. She's huge in Korea. But yeah, it just kind of sucks that, I mean, we've definitely aired our grievances with YMC, and I feel like this just only adds more fuel to that fire. That the fact that they're basically like doing a Jessica, where they're not letting her promote, they're not letting her go on music shows, they're kind of like blacklisting her essentially. So it's kind of a shame. Yeah, it's definitely a shame because she's a great performer live. I saw her live. First time I saw her live was in KCON 2016. The famous or infamous, depending on who you ask, incident where the backing track wasn't playing and she just sang the whole thing. She just sang like the first part of like I forget which song in just a cappella, and she was just destroying the whole performance. So yeah, she definitely, her vocal talent isn't to be questioned at this point, but maybe her choice of single will. We'll get to that. So starting us off, we have Midnight, which is probably by the time we're gonna end the show. So Midnight, again, I feel like it's a good reintroduction to just how good of a vocalist Ailee is. Like, you kind of almost forget her having just not been in the spotlight outside of, like, OSTs for so long. So, yeah, it's just this really good complementary relationship between, like, this, like, almost EDM synth instrumental with just her incredible high notes during the chorus. So, yeah, just a great way to start off the album for me.
Yeah. The song is pretty much exactly how I expected the first track on a new Ailee album to sound like. Like, it's basically picking off right where she left off musically. As always, I think her vocals on this are superb, which I'll try to avoid commenting on in future tracks, since I think we can kind of take that for granted.
You could say that for pretty much every song on here.
Yeah. Like her the belting ad libs she does on this are amazing. I thought the way the beat drops hard during the chorus and clears up in the verses in between was really nice, and I think that lent really well for a highly effective hook. Great way to open the album.
What was Nate's thoughts?
Nate, he says... Hold on. My computer has stopped being retarded. Here, Ailee... Okay, so Nate says, for Midnight, it's been a long time since we've gotten an Ailee release, and this first song is exactly what I expected and wanted. Sticking to her usual style, classic pop music with a focus on her belting and just doing an amazing job with her vocals. I like how muted the second verse is right after the much more energetic chorus. Instrumentals are good. I like the main synth line throughout the song, but nothing stands out too much.
Cooper says, "Woo, why wasn't this the title track? It has that powerful EDM sound in the chorus, but also has much better vocals than Room Shaker." I agree 100%. I like the thumping synths and bass throughout the song, definitely. It's that EDM instrumental, I feel, it works so well with Ailee's vocals. Moving on, we have the next song, which is entitled Want It, and I'd say this was probably the magnum opus of the entire album, at least for me. Just because... I don't know, it's just that it has this really cool blend of like a funky guitar riff, horn sections. It's almost like disco-esque in like how like the drum tracks go in.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny because like Ailee is known for like belting, but she doesn't really do much of that in this song. And I feel it's probably the best vocal performance, just specifically because of how the vocal melody was written on the chorus. It's just incredibly unique and catchy. And I feel like she's so at home in this type of like funk R&B style of music. So yeah, this was such a treat for me to listen to, and I'm just like, yeah, this is when I was still high on the album, and I was like, damn, Ailee's back. I'm really happy.
All right, so I really like the electric guitar being coupled with the synths throughout the song. The chorus is super catchy, just like the previous song. Again, I think it hits super hard. And special shout out as well to the awesome bass line. Okay, so for Nate, he says, awesome sax intro with a really punchy beat. This song has an amazing instrumental with the big band sound. Great brass parts, some nice little piano interludes thrown in. I like how it's all layered on a more traditional punchy pop beat. It's got this nice dichotomy of switching from the chorus from that in the verses to the big band sound in the chorus. Plus, Ailee singing is amazing as always.
Definitely. That's going to be the recurring theme here.
Yep.
Cooper says in all caps, best song. The brightness this has fully fits the summer. The piano and horns are so good. Her voice sounds amazing here. The verse with the electric guitar and drums is amazing. Oh my god. And then he says key change with like 1,000 E's. Yeah, obviously you're gonna get a really big modulation with freaking Ailee because she has the vocal range of like I don't know, just Beyonce or something like that, or just somebody in like Whitney Houston or whatever. You're just you're gonna she's definitely gonna show her range off.
I mean, I'd say she's probably the closest thing to being a Korean equivalent to Beyonce.
Definitely.
So she definitely takes a lot of inspiration from her, at least. So
next we have Headlock. Speaking of that, like sort of influence, this is basically just her doing like her best, like Beyonce or even like TTS impersonation. Definitely sounds a bit TTS in this type of sound. So it makes sense, again, like I said, with Baekhyun growing up with this kind of music in the early 2000s, especially with Ailee being an American. It's no surprise she draws a lot of inspiration from this music. So again, it's like Wanted and Headlock are kind of lockstep in the similarity of like the horn usage, really interesting percussive parts. Like the chorus has like this like cowbell section going on during it. That sounds so cool. It's basically, it really is just like 2000s R&B music. And there's that cool build up to the chorus where she just like hits insane high notes. So again, just if you want to show somebody what Ailee's music is, I think this would be one of them. In all honesty, just it's very quintessentially Ailee.
All right, so the song starts out with a really low bass, sort of like coupled with some claps to kind of serve as like the metronome for the song, so to speak. The song was really, really good overall, but I feel like the build up and the drop into the chorus fell a little short for me as far as impact goes. I think maybe if either the instrumentals filled right up or cleared right out, I think it would have been a little better. I don't think the vocal performance was an issue. For this, I just chalk that down to production. It's a fun chorus. It just doesn't hit hard enough for me. So for Nate, he says the whole song screams Ailee. It's right up her alley. Clapping beat, funky brass, bass instrumentals, super vocal focused, and not really sure how I feel about the talking parts, but the rest of the song is solid.
Cooper, like, he specifically mentions the talking parts and says the talking parts are in the song. Why? And I don't know how I feel about the super heavy bass with the clapping mixed with horns. Parts of it I like, but others are just not my taste. Moving on, we have the lead single off of this full album entitled Room Shaker.
Oof.
That's really the only way to explain this song, but I will try to explain the oof in details. To put it plain and simple and bluntly, I'm sorry, Ailee. You know, you're my Jersey girl, but I gotta say this, and maybe it's not entirely her fault, but this is probably one of the saddest and most blatest attempts I've heard to rip off Blackpink in all my years of like trying to review K-pop music. Like, seriously, that whistling part at the beginning to like the delivery of the verse is just like literally like copy pasted from doo-doo. Like it's so shameless in how they do it, and it just makes me so disappointed considering how much I love Ailee as a performer. And just compared to the rest of the album, it just came out of friggin' nowhere. It just tonally, doesn't fit with the album at all. Just because you have a lot of these like R&B focused, sometimes EDM focused, and you got this like kind of like girl crush concept thing that comes out of nowhere. Yeah, just I feel it like she was trying to go for something with the whole album, and then it just kind of went off the rails around here. And I feel like there's like so many other songs on this entire album that would have made for way better singles than this would.
Yeah.
So that's just the music. I mean, getting to like the friggin' music video, it's like, I mean, it's not bad. It just doesn't do anything interesting. Like the choreography is okay. I mean, granted, like that's not necessarily a strength of hers all the time, but I mean, I do expect something at least interesting.
Yeah.
But the setting of the music video is just kind of like uninspired. It's just like some random parking garage, and they like dress up some like empty building with like seats and like I don't know. Like the background definitely wasn't the focus. It's mostly on like the outfits and everything. There's some nice like pink outfits or whatever. Also, I think she might get sued by Michael Buffer for yelling "Let's get ready to rumble," but let's that's probably the least of her worries. I have this conspiracy theory with the song that I mentioned this in Discord that maybe she's pulling a Marvin Gaye. So what I mean by that is when Marvin Gaye got divorced from his wife, as the legend goes, I don't know if it's confirmed or denied, but she had the royalty. She gained all the royalties from his next album. So
what the hell?
The story
so
goes.
He just bombed it.
Yes, the story goes. He just made it horrible so they wouldn't sell a lot. And I'm thinking maybe Ailee did that. She just gave them the worst single possible so that she wouldn't make YMC any money. And I'm just gonna go with that with my headcanon to explain why this song was even considered being the single. Oh,
yeah,
go
so
ahead.
A word you used in the description of MV, uninspired, I think that's my issue with the song. It's like, it's not even that it's bad, it's just uninspired. Like, I think it's clear that somebody, whether it's Ailee or YMC or whoever, they see, you know, Blackpink doing these kind of songs, that's what's popular right now. Ailee's been gone for a while. We need to get her back in the spotlight.
Yeah, it just
so
feels
we're gonna
like
try and come out with that kind of song.
Yeah, it's the very definition of trying to ride a trend, like blatantly.
Yeah. What I was saying was, to be honest, I kind of found this track to be kind of unnecessary. Like, it's not bad of a song, but it just feels like Ailee's trying to get in on the type of crowd that groups like Blackpink attract by using this as a title track. I'll pass on this.
Yeah.
And then my last comment was, although I didn't like the song, I did really like the aesthetic of and outfits they went with for the MV. I thought that was fine at least. So, yeah, basically just unnecessary, uninspired. I think those are the two words I describe it. All right, so Nate.
I'm interested to see what he thought.
All right, Nate, in all caps, what the hell happened?
That's the only way to explain it. What the hell happened?
Yeah, and then he goes on to say, why did Ailee decide to use this as a single or make it at all? We got 3 solid Ailee tracks so far, and then we get this YG reject of a song. Absolutely nothing about this song stands out. She even does the YG vocal style. The chorus is utter garbage. The drop is obnoxious. Her rapping is not good. Everything about this album has been amazing so far. Then this happens. She literally yells, "Let's get ready to rumble." ...
Yeah.
MV matches the song and looks like a low budget YG reject MV too. Dude, no. Nate went completely in on this song.
Oh I mean, God. He is right though. It really is like it's dollar store did it.
Well, he used our word. Choreo is uninspired. Overall, the whole thing is a mess.
Cooper's probably the most positive about this, if I can even say that. He says, and by positive, he says, this actually isn't the least favorite song on the album. It's not the worst for him, so that's something. I like the hook. The English in the second verse is actually putrid, but I like the pre-chorus a lot and bridge. Her long note is iconic too. The MV is kind of gross and cheap looking. I do like the floor cleaning choreo though. Still kind of a mess with the concept. Yeah, I mean, like you gotta clean. Yeah, it's symbolic of just them cleaning up the mess that was this song. So I don't know how to explain it. If you in the comments can explain why they picked this song, please enlighten us. Moving on, we have The next song is entitled Love, which features Chen from EXO. So Chen features on Ailee's song, but not on Baekhyun's album. Makes perfect sense. I don't know. Anyway,
Chen is featured on this?
yeah.
Okay, it doesn't even say that on Apple Music. It just says Love, no feature.
Okay.
I was wondering, I actually said in my comments, who's the featured singer? I was like, the featured singer was not bad. I'm not sure who it was.
Well, yeah. I don't know, because I love both of their voices. Like, Chen has definitely sort of gone up my EXO bias rankings just because his voice is just incredible. But
Definitely.
man, they just went so boring and safe with this. Like, they could have done so well together. I mean, like, the chorus is kind of good, but... And I do think, like, if given a second crack at it, maybe I'd like it better, but... Man, I feel it's way too safe. Way too safe for Ailee. Like, they even tried to sneak in a bit of, like, future bass during some parts of it, but, like, even that couldn't... Like, I'm usually the future bass sucker here, but, like, even that couldn't save the song entirely.
Future bass sucker.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the one that keeps constantly yelling future bass, but even that didn't sort of improve the song or my thoughts on the song all too much.
So I thought this song was pretty good. After the I put this in quotes hypeness that was Room Shaker. We have a more like slow paced and tamed like coffee shop style like R&B ballad sort of thing. I thought Ailee's voice came out super sweet, and to be honest, this sort of thing from her appeals to me way more than Room Shaker.
Anything appeals more to me than Room Shaker.
Yeah. And then I also said the sax, and then I put question mark. I was like, can't tell if it's a sax or not, but that pipes in from the background every now and then was pretty cool as well. And then I said the featured singer is not bad. I'm not sure who it was though. So it turns out it was Chen, so that makes sense. All right, so from Nate, he says Ailee ballad, piano focused, great vocals. Back to exactly what we want. Love the piano focus with the mix of some guitar in there. Chen's feature was great. His voice is amazing and goes really well with Ailee's. Love the layering of the vocals they did in this song too.
Cooper says, once again, Chen is used for a boring ass ballad. Oh,
damn.
This could have been a really fun collab. Like, imagine if Wanted was the Chen feature. Their vocals going back and forth with that instrumental. Instead, this is super generic, and their voices just kind of blend together in uninteresting ways. Disappointing all around. I agree.
Damn.
Next, something that's not disappointing at all is called Nothing at All. So, yeah, this was where I feel it kind of started to pick up some of the momentum again. It's definitely got this kind of like, again, drawing from the 2000s American music, pop music type of thing. You got this like almost Alicia Keys type performance from Ailee here, just like with this like really like repetitive piano thing, like the dun 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 dun. I thought it was incredible. Like there's the parts where her vocals are going off. It's almost like at odds with like the 3/4 of the instrumentals. It's just like da 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 da. Like I thought that was incredible. Again, it just shows that for Ailee to show her vocal talent, she doesn't always have to belt. She just has to do really interesting things with how they do the vocal melody. So, yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. And, I mean, just a cool guitar part at the end always is a bonus. So, yeah, this is where I was kind of back on board.
Okay. So, what I thought that was, the piano, I thought it was like a ukulele or something. They were just going doot, 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 doot.
Just hitting the same note over and over again.
Yeah, I couldn't tell what it was, but I guess maybe it's like an out of tune piano or something like that. So it starts out with the quiet vocals, and then as the song progresses, a more like heavy sounding percussion comes in, which kind of ushers us into the awesome chorus. I think this is probably one of the best vocal performances from Ailee on the whole album.
Definitely.
Like, I think it's definitely one of my favorite songs. All right, so from Nate, he says he really likes the bouncing piano and the 3/4 time signature. Like Younha's song, it gives a bit of a waltz feel. Also, like how the instrument.
Yeah, it's just 1, 2, 3, like waltz type feel.
Yeah. Also like how the instrumentals in this song are almost entirely just for the beat, giving the entire focus to Ailee, until it builds near the end at least. All right, I'm like He like put periods in weird spots, so if it sounds weird me reading
Damn
this,
it, Nate.
that's why. Then we get some great guitar and other stuff to add to that swell of music. Then it all drops out for the ending.
Cooper says, gives me more jazzy feels. Really enjoyed this compared to the last few songs. Her voice fits this tempo and style so much more. Yeah, I feel like, again, this is her bread and butter. It's 2000s R&B type of thing.
Now we make the dark descent.
Next, we have You Are Precious Because of Who You Are. Quite a mouthful of a title. I don't know. I feel like the title is more interesting than the actual song. I'm sorry, but I mean, like, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like they could have done something more interesting with her vocals here. It's just super run of the mill. That's all I have to say.
Yep. All right. So for me, I also didn't have too much to say. I thought the super high like synth piano that they started the song out with was pretty nice. Yeah, like overall this is a nice like uplifting song, but the thing that I don't like, it sounds like something I've heard before and I can't really put my finger on it.
Yeah, it sounds too
like
derivative.
It sounds exactly like something I've heard on like the radio or something. So, I don't know.
Oh, I know I know what it reminds me of. It reminds me of Skyscraper by Demi Lovato.
Oh, that maybe that is a song I'm thinking
If you've heard
of.
that,
I don't know.
like a skyscraper, like almost the same key and everything.
Yeah, maybe.
So, what did Nate think of this?
All right, so for Nate, he says synth intro is fantastic, so he agreed with me there. Then we get ballady Ailee vocals, nice mix of guitar and synth for the instrumentals. I really like the synth line. It gives it that inspiring vibe, mixes really well with the anthemic, stealing Cooper's word, nature of the song. Love the string swell for the outro too.
Yep, Cooper's definitely in agreement with Nate. He says solid power ballad with a good drum line, so he definitely enjoys those anthem type feels.
Yep.
Next, we have Fire, not a cover of the 21 song or the
Yes.
BTS song.
Or the Taeyeon song.
This actually might be the worst song in the album, in all honesty. It's like the most stereotypical freaking Moombahton house song. Like, I mean, Room Shaker is very generic, it hurts, but Fire is so generic that like it like hurts to listen to. Like I really don't want to listen to it at all. Because I mean at this point, like, you know, my feelings on just Moombahton and Tropical House just being like so played out, and yeah, it just kind of feels like this is another attempt to sort of be on trend, but nope.
Yeah,
just don't.
For me, just like You're Precious Because of Who You Are, I feel like the song feels really familiar, but I feel like the reason for that is because both songs sound a lot like what's been playing on like mainstream radio the past few years, and to me it kind of sounds generic because of that. Like I don't know, like Room Shaker, which is like kind of too derivative of what's popular in Korean music right now. I think this is way too derivative of what's been going on in American music like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So
it's super dated.
I think that's the main thing I don't like. The problem for that might just be she might have just been sitting on this song since 2016.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of.
She's been gone.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of, is that the reason a lot of these songs might feel dated is because she's been waiting for like eons to release it. Because I mean, it's not like she completely fell off the map. She had like solo singles that released, and she did OSTs. It's just, this album might have been like in the oven for a good few years, considering it's been like 3 years since her last release.
So again, overall, I think it's good, but it didn't really blow me away at all. So, yeah. All right. Let's see what Nate had to say. Nate said, I think this is a more upbeat dance track that still sticks to Ailee's style and should have been the title track. Hard disagree there, Nate. But
I'm glad he's not on here, because we would clown him so much.
Yeah, he would have been like, what? Yeah, he says it's still Ailee and not just a reject YG song, but it's got that more mainstream radio appeal. Really like the chiptune synths they use occasionally.
Cooper, on the other hand, says, this is a no from me. The la la la's are so annoying, and the whole thing just feels tacked on, especially with it being towards the end of the album. It adds nothing to the overall product and ruins the cohesion. Yeah, I agree on that. It's something that just comes way too out of left field for me compared to what the rest of the album was going for. So, yeah, just basically, if you delete Fire and Room Shaker off of this album, it improves by like a whole 1 or 2 points. Yeah. Next we have Ain't That Pretty. So I feel like, again, every album there's a situation where Ain't That Pretty makes Fire just completely redundant. Like, if you're going to go for like a type of EDM vibe, like, go with this. Like, it's not that ambitious. I mean, it's just like a very standard like EDM like future bassy type song, but at least they do something interesting with like there's like vocal chopping. I like the vocal melody a lot better than this. So yeah, seriously, like Fire does not need to exist. Like Ain't That Pretty just covered it essentially.
So for me, I thought the drop in the chorus using the vocal samples was pretty cool. Other than that, I didn't have a ton to comment on, but I do agree in that I think it's a lot better than Fire, but I think it still suffers from the same problem that it kind of sounds like, again, like the certain trends that we already saw in American music a couple of years ago. Like, it's not building upon it or anything or giving
it's nothing new.
A K-pop flair or whatever you want to call it, you know? So it's a good song, definitely better than Fire for me, but it's still not one that I think I would return to that often.
Yeah. Or at all.
So for Nate, he says, now we get a guitar focused song and it's great like usual. And all caps again. Then it drops and holy shit, it's amazing. All right, so I guess Nate likes these songs
I do like
better
the
than
vocal
we do.
chopping, so who drop.
It could be also the reason Nate's not like, it doesn't feel like these are so stale is because he doesn't listen to the radio that much.
Nate doesn't know what American music is, so
yeah. So that could be the reason.
So yeah, it's like he's like a baby with this. It's like everything is new to him.
So says got that retro 80s style synth drop, glitch vocals. This is easily one of the best songs on the album. Again, hard disagree. The dichotomy of the chill verses with the guitar and the more energetic drop with the synths is fantastic. Definitely my favorite song on the album. Nope.
Cooper says, I shouldn't like this, but I really dig the drop with the hook and the glitched vocals. So yeah, definitely enjoys it a lot as well.
Yeah.
And closing out this long, full album, we have Heart Crusher, which features, I believe, our DJs named Undaunted and DJ Koo. So never heard of them necessarily, but I mean, definitely understand why there's DJ features on here, because the entire song's in English, and it very much is like a deep house type track.
Yeah,
I'd say the drop here just throws Ain't That Pretty's drop like completely out of the water. And
for real, this throws the last 3 songs out of it, like just, in the trash. Like,
yeah, just like Ailee over like a deep house song like this is just as incredible as it sounds on paper. Maybe kind of cringe with like some of the English lyrics, like, quote, "Damn you so sexy, but you're not the one." Add that to like the add that to the list of for TDAs. I can overlook it though with how good the rest of the song is, but hearing this just kind of makes me wish that this was the song she debuted with in the US. Because remember when
the Alien song? Yeah, that would have been amazing.
Yeah, so she, for those that don't remember,
and with a different name, not Alien.
Yeah, for those that don't remember, and for good reason, she made her official English debut or US debut under the name Alien, spelled AILEEAN. Because Ailee, Alien, I don't know why she didn't just use Ailee.
Ailee.
Yeah, like,
I know there's already an Amy
person?
Lee, but just use Ailee. Yeah.
What marketing person said, no, Ailee is not going to work? Like, why?
Yeah.
But, just imagine.
And who thought Alien was better than Ailee?
Yeah, who thought Alien is better than Ailee? Like, what? That person should have been fired. Anyway, like, imagine if she released a song like this onto US radio. If it feels
this could blow up on pop radio.
It feels so
on
at
XM
home.
And all the pop stations locally. Definitely.
Like, I can imagine like song like this getting played at like Ultra Music Festival or Electric Daisy Car. Like it fits so at home with how like sort of dance music is in the United States, and I feel it's kind of it's a shame that no one outside of Korea is really gonna listen to this, because I feel like given the chance, this would blow up immediately, because you don't really get like, usually whenever you get like features on EDM songs, they're not usually like incredible singers. And here you have arguably one of the best singers.
You do have an incredible singer.
Yeah, you have one of the best singers in all of Korea doing in like an EDM type feature, almost. Yeah. And she just blows it out of the park here. I'd love to see more of this.
Yeah, so what I said was, after the last 3 songs being kind of boring for me, I found this song to be way more fun. Like, the instrumental blew me away as soon as it started to populate the track in the first drop. It's got kind of like a electric aquatic feeling to it, which I really like. The drop during the chorus made for a really high impact and super fun. Again, like what you're saying with, you could see it being at like Ultra Music Festival or something. Like, I think this would be super, really fun live.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to see this live. And another thing, I thought it was funny how the song that's in English sounded way better than the Korean tracks that were kind of like trying to sound American.
Yeah, the one song that sounds American, or that's in all English, sounds good, but all of the ones that want to sound American don't sound as good.
Yeah. This is probably my favorite song on the album.
Oh,
I really liked it.
It was such a surprise just how much I ended up enjoying this.
Yeah, I hope she releases this as a single and tries to promote a little bit in the US. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, like, I don't know, just Ailee on Twitter? We should somebody like at Ailee on Twitter, maybe us, will be like, yo, seriously, get somebody to release this in America. It will blow up on the dance charts. It's like,
I think
it's
if
perfect.
she could go on like with more and more K-pop acts going on like MTV and like stuff like that, I think she could get she's just got to get in contact with the right agent, I think, and if she can get the good appearances and stuff, I think this could catch on. You just got to get people to play it on the radio, though. That's the key.
Yeah. So okay, all right, everyone, write into Hot 97 and or I don't know, PLJ or something. Like, get everyone to start playing this song. I don't know. What did Nate think of it? Because he usually likes the EDM bangers.
He says in all caps again, house. Also entirely in English, which is why I felt it had a bit of an American pop feeling. But you didn't feel that from the last 3? Okay. It's also the most dance-focused song, which makes sense because DJ Koo is featured on it. Really enjoyed the song a lot. It's typical EDM, but it's good. That's so weird. He didn't like this one as much, but he liked the last 3 a lot.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, that boggles my mind. All right.
Cooper says, this sounds like something Cheryl Cole or Robin would release in 2013, and I love it. Perfect closer. So definitely, I think I don't know them specifically for music, but I think one of them or the other featured on a nice, on some deep house song that I liked. I forget the name of it, but yeah, definitely like a perfect way to close it. This whole album was such a roller coaster that I'm glad it ended on a high. Just like it, like
it was like they dragged my face through a bunch of rocks before giving me a diamond at the
end. Basically, no, it's just like you dragging your face through like a bunch of rocks turned into a diamond towards the end. So all the pain in the end was kind of worth it. But anyway, getting on to scores again. We are giving maximum of 7 points for music and a maximum of 3 points for the concept, visuals, that sort of thing. So, this pains me so much. I'm giving the single a 0.5.
Oh boy.
I think that might be the lowest I've ever given with this new system, because like I could go the rest of my life without hearing Room Shaker again. Like, I could honestly go, like, I will do my best to avoid ever listening to this song ever again. I'm sorry, but it's that bad, or it's that annoying or abhorrent to me. I mean, the song itself is pretty, like, generic, and I mean, that's not why I'm mad. What makes me mad is that I feel like it's such a waste of Ailee's talent, because we know what to expect. I feel like a lot of her fans know what to expect, and I feel like she's too good to like sort of fall victim to trend chasing in that sort of way. I don't know whose decision it was again, but
again, it doesn't really do anything for her career. To put out this song.
It doesn't do the the actual talent she has any justice. So yeah, that's probably harsh on this song. 2.5 out of 3.5 for album tracks. Again, just basically everything else was like a saving grace. And a 1.5 out of 3 for the concept. And that's probably me being generous just because I felt like the outfits are nice. So there's a total of 4.5 out of 10, which I feel bad because I love a lot of the songs on here. It's just Room Shaker just, again, I feel like brought this whole album down for me just like a good 1 or 2 points on its own.
Yeah. All right, so for me, I gave the music a 5 out of 7 just because I felt like 6 of the songs I liked a lot, and then the other 4 I really just did not like at all.
You want to launch into the sun?
Yeah, like I could like tracks 7 through 9. So You're Precious Because of Who You Are, Fire and Ain't Pretty. I could literally like just remove them from the album, and it would, and obviously also Room Shaker, and this would be a really great album in my opinion. Like, it'd get at least an 8.5, I think.
Yeah.
For me. Like, it's just unfortunate, I guess. I think the problem with the trio there towards the end that I didn't like was just because she probably was just sitting on those songs for too long. And
they missed their moment.
us here in the States, at least, we've been like these trends in music have been like hammered into our heads like for too long already that it doesn't really impress me, I guess, is the problem. So, like, they're not terrible songs. It's just, like, I probably won't listen to them at all.
At all.
So
that's
so, music, I gave 5 out of 7. So, overall, I think the album's still good. It's just, I'll just remove those tracks or skip them or whatever so I can get to Heart Crusher, which is the banger we all deserve.
Yes, after enduring the rest of it.
For concept, I gave it a 2 out of 3 because, again, I thought the aesthetic for the MV was good, at least. Despite, again, like, Room Shaker really wasn't what I was looking for. I thought the MV was fine. I think it deserves 2 out of 3. So, yeah, overall, I gave it a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
I think it's a good album. It's just mostly because it's plagued by just some... Yeah, basically, like... Think of this album as trying to swim. It's got a bunch of weights like attached to its feet.
Yeah, basically, like a lot of unnecessary weight attached to it. What was Nate's score?
All right, so Nate, he says his overall thoughts. This album is hard to rate. Without Room Shaker, it would probably be a 9 or a 10 for him. Okay, cool. But Room Shaker is an utter mess. It also doesn't fit at all on the album, so I don't know what anyone was thinking with it as the single. But the rest of the album is more Ailee, which I've been waiting for a long time and delivers. Concept is an utter mess because it's all based around Room Shaker. I think I'm going to be generous on music because concept is going to ruin the score anyway. So he gave music a 6 and the concept a 1. So he also gave it a 7.
7 out of 10 as well. So again, Cooper didn't give a closing statement, but he gave this a 5.5 out of 10.
So he gave it better than I did.
Yeah, so he gave a 4.5 for music, a 1 for concept. I'm surprised I gave a better concept score to this than Cooper did, so I guess I was feeling a bit generous. So, doing the math, that is a 6 average. That's a lot higher than I was expecting originally, but I mean, I guess that's just being very generous. So, what are you guys' thoughts on Ailee's triumphant return, or not so triumphant? Do you like Room Shaker? Are we completely off base with it? Do you like any of the other songs like Midnight or Headlock or Heart Crusher? Let us know what your favorites are and what your thoughts are in the comments below.
Yep. All right, moving on. We have the next topic, which is Younha. Finally, with something new after, was it last year or 2 years ago that we got Rescue?
Rescue was like end of 2017, essentially, or end of.
Okay, so yeah, it's been a while then.
Yeah.
And it's 2017, early 2018, something like that. Anyways, you can fact check us on that, by the way, if anyone cares enough. Anyways, we have Younha with her new mini album, Stable Mindset.
So you can read this one.
Yes. So starting off, we have the song Four Season, and I wrote this in all caps. I love this song. Like, This is so good. Like from what I've heard from her, I think these are some of Younha's best vocals, like easily.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so like gentle and understated, but also at the same time it's so clean and powerful at times as well. The string and piano instrumental also went really well to like I think this is a theme throughout the whole album. It's like it's very clean sounding, which I really like. It's a no pun intended, like it's a breath of fresh air in my opinion, as far as I guess what's going on in the ballads that I check out recently.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was excellent.
I mean, I think we all have an affinity for her style of ballad or her voice in the context of a ballad, because I mean, we usually just find them mostly boring, but there's something about whatever she's doing with her voice that, I mean, it's definitely explainable, but her voice is just, again, a breath of fresh air. I believe Nate mentioned it a bit, or alluded to it, but this song has like a 3/4 like waltz type of feel to it.
Yep.
Her voice just feels so at home with like this like elaborate, like almost fantastical sounding string section. There's a part during like the build up to the chorus, just like right before like, or just towards the end of the verse, where it just cuts to the piano and just her voice. I think that's a really nice detail in itself, but the chorus just definitely delivers, showcases a lot of her vocal range, just basically everything you want out of a Younha song. So yeah, very enjoyable on my end.
All right, so Nate, he says, awesome start with the strings, piano, and very quiet march beat. The marching snare drum and the 3/4 time signature gives it a waltz feel. Really cool to hear it in a Korean ballad. Younha's voice is amazing like usual, something I'll probably say the whole album. Great instrumental arrangement overall.
Cooper definitely praises this song as well. He says, this song is so beautiful. I love the swing, strings, and piano. Sounds really classical and fantastical. Her vocals are equally sweet and equally powerful. Really stand out first track. Yeah, I'd say that's what I have to say about most of the album, is that it's very short, but I feel like there's a purpose to almost every song on here. So yeah, nothing. It doesn't overstay its welcome.
All right. Next up, we have Lonely, which is
a cover of the 21 song.
Yeah. All right. So once again, super, super, super clean vocals, which is, again, a theme throughout the whole album that I really appreciate. Nate recently gave me a large part of Younha's discography. So after this album, I'm definitely going to listen to it, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like what the pianos are doing. I think are like triplets, I guess. I'm not really good at this kind of thing, so you can fact check me there. But either way, again, it's a really, really amazing soft ballad.
Mm. I mean, it's weird for me to say that this was kind of like the weakest song on the album, just because I still like it a lot. I mean, it definitely is the least ambitious of the tracks on here, but I mean, even after saying that, like, the vocals are great, instrumentals are great, vocalization parts are great. Definitely fits like the sort of like late 90s, early 2000s like indie type of indie American type of music vibe that she fits so well. So yeah, I mean, it might not have been like the most like my favorite, but I mean, it's still a really good song.
Yeah. All right, so Nate, he says, I really like how, despite the songs being ballads, the styles of beat are very different. This song has a bit of a classic hip-hop beat. That's an interesting take.
Yeah, it's kind of like a boom bat type thing. I mean...
Yeah.
I mean, definitely she's no stranger to it, having worked with Epic High before. That's very much in their wheelhouse.
One of my favorite songs of all time.
Definitely. If you're not familiar with Younha, I mean, not too many people are. Definitely go listen to that. At least listen to Umbrella. She has two versions. She has a version she did on her own and a version she did as a collaboration with Epic High. So both are excellent.
Yep.
So go listen.
All right. I love how, back to Nate, by the way. I love how low she keeps her voice for this song. It's got that super airy style that I love. Acoustic guitar was a nice addition for the chorus and second verse, very much sticking to Younha's style.
Cooper says, a bit of a faster song, though still a ballad. I like the beat here and the more acoustic approach to keep things interesting.
All right. Next up, we have On a Rainy Day.
Oops.
I
didn't change the screenshot, but you'll understand.
Anyways, So in my notes, I was like, I'm kind of running out of things today to say because all of these songs are really great for very similar reasons, in my opinion. Particularly again for her vocals just blow me away on every single time. I think the strings in the background are really nice, as well as the always welcomed addition of a bass. And as we know already, the vocals on the track again are fantastic. So definitely another one worth checking out. Nate said, oh wait, no, it's your turn now, actually.
Yeah, hold on. I just made sure to change it so people would know what the heck we were talking about. So, yeah, I mean, it's not surprising that she'd go with a more ballady type track for like the title.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a standard ballad.
And I mean, that's what she's
not
known
a negative
for.
here.
Yeah, that's what she's mostly known for in Korea. Just a lot of her ballad performances. And no surprise, it's like charting in like the top 30. Because she definitely destroyed. Like, she's not gonna register on like any international fans' radar too much, but she definitely is she has her following in Korea. So yeah, it's definitely mostly like a piano and violin driven type of song. It definitely picks up a bit after the chorus during the second verse. There's a really speaking of triplets, like you said in the other song, there's like a really interesting dun 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 like section during the chorus that I really enjoyed. That high note though.
Yeah, definitely.
That's probably one of like the rawest, most ridiculous high notes I've ever heard in any music I've ever listened to my entire life. Like she really is the gold standard for ballad singers in Korea, I feel. Yeah. So, I mean, I enjoyed this song a lot. I mean, because she did release Snail Mail as sort of like a digital single, I believe, towards the end of last year, and very much following up on the heels of that. Just incredible vocals all the way through. And I feel like, yeah, the vocal melody and performance that she delivers is what makes her ballad stand out so much more than the hundreds of other Korean ballad singers you have out there. Like, it's a very saturated market, but yeah, Younha just has a specific color to her voice that just makes her stand out.
Yeah.
Not much goes on in the music video, in all honesty, but I do like, I'm a really big fan of ambient noise, and like obviously being the title of the song, like Rainy Day, like you hear a lot of like raindrops and like water rushing sort of thing. So I thought that was a nice touch to sort of interweave that with the music video. So it's still a really nice touch.
Yeah. All right. Nate says, the emotion in the song is incredible. I still get chills even after listening to it dozens of times. The minimalist start with just the piano is great, allowing Younha to showcase her incredible vocal skill. Then the strings and hints of guitar come in to build the song perfectly. Her high note leading into a quieter piano part is incredible. Then it goes full-on power ballad with electric guitar for the last vocal part, leading into an amazing piano outro. This is a UR tier ballad for me. Yeah, see, that's huge praise.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, that's huge praise, not surprisingly, but that's how much.
For those who aren't familiar with the song, UR is a amazing ballad by Taeyeon. So,
and I feel like she's in terms of praise, like you could definitely put her in the realm of like Taeyeon in terms of like good singers.
For sure. Continuing on with what Nate had to say, everything I could have wanted from a Younha single. MV is beautifully shot, not the highest budget, but they did amazing with the camera work and lighting.
Cooper says, power ballad time. It really is. The MV is pretty though standard. These kinds of ballads have to have the vocals to support the instrumental, and Younha more than delivers the goods. Indeed.
Yes. All right. Next is the hardest work. Again, I had trouble describing because
like her and Ailee, it's like hard not to be like her vocals are great in this song just because that's kind of what it is on every track.
Definitely the main appeal here, because like I basically said, same as last. Again, some of her best vocals. Like it's like this is an incredible ballad that I think you just have to listen to know what we're talking about. So if you haven't listened to the album, I don't know why you're listening to this review.
Oh no, go stop what you're doing. Go listen to the album right now. Yeah. I mean, definitely. Come back to this afterwards.
Yeah, the hardest work again is another fantastic ballad. That the only reason I didn't really have much to say is just because what I'd be commenting on is like kind of regurgitating similar things I've already said for the other songs that it also does great on. So definitely check it out.
This was actually probably my favorite on the album, even more than On a Rainy Day, just because I feel like, this is probably more similar to Snail Mail than even like On a Rainy Day was. It's got that sort of like low-key vibe to it. There's an incredible emotional build-up that they deliver in the chorus when she sort of hits that high note. Again, I feel like she's not that well known to international fans, and I mean, her high notes. But I'd say her high notes are probably on par with like an IU or an Ailee or anyone else in terms of female vocals. I mean, again, she doesn't belt as much as an Ailee does, but whenever she uses like that. The vocal range that she does, she has mastery over all sections or all portions of her vocal range, and it definitely shows in these types of tracks, even though they're kind of low key and laid back.
Yep. All right, so continuing on.
Oh wait, Nate.
With Nate's.
Good save.
With Nate's thoughts. Another solid ballad, much more classic feeling, focusing just on the piano for beat it first, and then adding a slower drum part. Great string and guitar additions to highlight her voice. Once again, another song where she stays super low for parts and it sounds fantastic. It accents her high notes really well, which I definitely agree with.
Cooper says, another power ballad, the bass and piano are good. The drum set is also solid to back up her belting at the end.
Yes. All right, lastly, we have Rainy Night, which I guess is kind of the sequel to On a Rainy Day.
Yeah.
So I really, really love this song. This is probably my second favorite on the album behind Four Season. I love how like it's just super gentle. I thought this was a great way to end the album after having a bunch of songs with gentle yet powerful vocals, and kind of end on one that's just full on like gentle. I feel like it's the best way to describe it. It's just gentle and clean and I don't know, serene.
Yeah.
Awesome. I thought this was an amazing track.
Yeah. Again, definitely has similar vibes to On a Rainy Day. Specifically, it has a lot of ambient noise with like raindrops in the background. Again, it's probably the most low-key track on the entire album, but again, just like you said, she has a softness to her voice, yet still maintains a certain amount of control to it. And definitely like the piano instrumental here is incredibly moving. I'd say this specifically just reminds me a lot of what I love about, what's her name? Baekhyun, in sort of similar that it's nothing too crazy in terms of like belting or whatever. It's just the amount of control she has over her voice and the emotion she's able to deliver on such a low key, almost minimalist type track is just incredible. Like you feel like there's barely any instrumental, but there's definitely a lot of emotion to be felt out of this track. So yeah, I couldn't think of a better way to end the mini album.
Yes. All right. So Nate, his thoughts were, I was surprised the single didn't include the ambient rain sounds, but I'm glad one of the songs in the album did, since it was the whole concept of the album. It makes sense to put it on the most ballady of the songs on the album full of ballads. The vocal melodies on the song are probably the best on the album, which makes sense because it has the most minimalistic instrumentals. It's got an almost musical feeling to it. Almost musical feeling to it. Okay, anyways, also they do some really good vocal layering with their singing in different registers.
Cooper says, a perfect relaxing closer. The rain sounds are so calming and peaceful. Her voice is light and airy, which fits the song perfectly. Yep, basically, like, if you need, like, perfect sleepy time music, like, Younha is probably number one on the, like, sleepy time music Korean artist, like, tier list, so to speak. Yeah, she, like, I mean, when I was on my plane ride over to Korea, basically, like, I would just spam, like, Snail Mail, because it just put me to sleep so well. It's such a good song. So if you're into this type of, like, low key, like, relaxing type of music, I'd say definitely check her out.
Sure. All right, so I guess we can go into ratings. For music, I gave full points, 7 out of 7. Every single song, I think, could have easily been the single to get the MV. all fantastic ballads. I don't think I really need to say more. I definitely like Four Seasons the most. But yeah. We didn't mention it's a cover of the Taeyeon song.
Wow, that was quick.
Anyways, yeah. Anyways, so for concept, I gave it 2.5 out of 3 because I like how clean looking the album art looks like. I feel like it really fits the musical aesthetic of the album as well as visually. Like the track placement, I think it all flows really well. I feel like that's kind of hard to mess up because they're all ballads, but I think it works really well, especially with like On a Rainy Day and Rainy Night kind of playing off of each other a little bit as well. So 2.5 out of 3 for that, and then overall I gave a 9.5 out of 10. So I really, really, really love this mini album.
For me, I'm giving full marks for the single, 3.5 out of 3.5. That high note is going to be stuck with me for the rest of my life, probably. I'm never going to forget it. Only 3 points out of 3.5 for the album, though. I'd say maybe if Lonely was more standout, I'd probably give it full marks. I mean, it's kind of hard for me not to give it full marks considering how much I loved Four Seasons and The Hardest Work and Rainy Night. But yeah, it just slightly misses the mark on that aspect. Concept 2 out of 3. Again, you can't really. It's hard to judge concept in terms of like a ballad singer, but I mean, what she did show was interesting, but nothing really too crazy. I mean, I'd say I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10, but don't get me wrong that this album is incredible. It still could be a favorite. It still could be considered a favorite of mine. I'd say maybe it definitely is not as adventurous and ambitious as Rescue was, but I'd say. I mean, I'd love to see her sort of experiment again, much in the same way she did on that album. But for what she did in terms of just mostly sticking to low-key, ballady type tracks, I mean, she just hit it out of the park. So that's probably like it was so borderline 8.5 and 9, but I don't think it's gonna matter because of what Nate's score is. I already checked it.
Yep, Nate. No surprise here. Everyone already guessed it. Nate gave 7 for music, 3 for concept for a 10 overall.
And Cooper gave it 9 out of 10. So that would
amazing.
Yeah. So
what was his music and concept breakdown?
He gave 6.5, 2.5. So
okay, all right, cool.
Almost perfect for everything. And I mean, yeah, just doing all the math, it ends up with a 9. So it definitely gets a shiny. Younha definitely is the front runner for like best ballad acoustic artist.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
Yeah, so again, if you're not as familiar with her, definitely go check out the rest of her discography. Check out Staple Mindset. Definitely go back and check out Rescue. Again, we usually shit on ballad songs a lot on this channel, but I mean, that should
like this is how you do it. This is how you make yourself stand out.
Yeah,
you gotta have the vocals. You gotta have the composition to make it stand out, you know.
Yeah, so it should definitely say something that we're giving this high praise to essentially an entire album full of ballads. It's that good.
Yeah, I mean, when there's a good ballad, if it's really good, it's really good.
Yeah,
like,
so that should it just shows how much we enjoyed it. So if you're checking out Younha for the first time, let us know what your thoughts are. Did you like On a Rainy Day? Which was your favorite song? Let us all know what your thoughts are in the comments below.
Yep. All right, up next we have our next review, which is GFriend's new album. Is it a mini album or a full album? I think it's a mini because it's technically only 7 songs.
Yeah, it's 7
it's
songs.
It's like in that weird in-between spot.
Yeah, it's 7,
Let me see if I can see the
I think it's
full album art.
It literally says on Spotify like the 7th mini album, so... Yeah, it is a mini album.
It says that on the cover. Yeah, so it's a mini album,
entitled
Fever Season. And
yes,
so I think you're reading this.
Yep. So yeah, we're doing a topic 5 just because we had a bit of a short show last week. So you get more music reviews. You get all music reviews this time around.
Yes.
Which, yeah, it's a lot of work. Anyway, GFriend Fever Season. I guess just I don't know. They like doing season and time and stuff for the title, like weather related stuff. I mean, they had sunny summer, so starting us off, we have the lead single off of this mini album entitled Fever. And as I was saying off camera before we start recording, Jacob, you and I are going to die on this hill. We're going to die on this hill adamantly because Fever isn't actually a good song.
Yeah,
it's
it is
actually
a good. Song.
Good.
It's a great song.
Because, again, as I've said before, I'm usually the one that barfs at the first sign of like a tropical house song, but I feel like the way that Source Music has approached it here, it's very interesting just because it's this weird sort of blend of like a tropical house drop, but they're sort of implementing like traditional like GFriend strings and like vocal elements to it. So I feel like that adding sort of like the GFriend element to the mix definitely makes it stand out more than just them doing like a traditional like tropical house song. So I feel like that's what makes it stand out for me. Following up on the vocal performance, I feel like Yuju and Younha blew it out of the water. Oh my god, just
Definitely.
like the high note during the chorus, like that's been stuck in my head the whole time. And I mean, as a Yuju stan, I'm feasting here with just her vocal performance. And I don't know, this whole album just feels weird for me because I mean I wasn't there to cover it was that Time for Us or something like that, the last album.
Yep.
I'm usually the one that gets frustrated the most by GFriend singles. Like they're probably the most the group that I'm most conflicted about, just because I love their music so much, and yet at the same time I hate their music so much, just because I feel like they can do better. But I'd say I'm probably more willing to give them a bit of a pass by doing like just, I don't know, tropical house, just because they're, for a group that's so like dead set in having a specific style, you have to applaud when Source Music and like the writing team of like Oreo, Iggy, and the rest of the crew are willing to step outside that comfort zone, because again, they're very like buddies are very, very, very like not receptive to like GFriend doing
them changing concept.
Yeah, them changing concept. I mean, like GFriend has essentially stayed for the most part the same for like their entire career.
Yeah.
So for them to do something,
I don't think. Again, I think most of I guess mostly your musical gripes, I think, are mostly with their fan base not allowing them to advance.
Yeah, because I mean, like, my background is my favorite GFriend song to this day is still Fingertip, and I feel like Fingertip had such a drastic, just a drastic rejection of it, that I feel like they were afraid of it to just sort of branch out in this way. But I hope that they feel more emboldened by this, because it works so well. As much as I like the song itself, though, I feel like the music video and the choreography is kind of a hot mess. I mean, maybe hot mess is kind of being a bit too strong about it, but I feel like, because we have such high expectations for GFriend choreo, and I feel like the choreo here is just like, what do other tropical house songs have? Let's just copy all of those moves, and I feel like that's a bit too low brow for GFriend. I expect a lot out of the choreography. But at least
I thought the choreography was nice, but I'm not an expert on the.
I don't know. I've just seen, like, it's just moves I've seen in tropical house songs like 100 times already. So it just does nothing for me at this point. At least they look nice though. A lot of the outfits, and I mean, freaking Yuju's hair with like the freaking straight bangs. Oh my god, it's
they look. Really nice. Also, it's weird to see Yurin not like smiling the entire time.
Well, I mean, it is a more serious song, so
yeah.
Same thing with like because is just like has a permanent smile on her face, but she tried her best to be more serious. Because I'd say the more serious members of GFriend are probably like Sinbi and I don't know, so on. Yeah, they're the most serious, whereas like the most playful are probably like Yerin and Younha is kind of in the middle. But yeah, they look amazing. So. You, the only other person that likes it. What did you think?
Yeah, so I thought overall this is a really strong title track to come back with, and I think this is definitely my favorite song on the album. It's also it's definitely the most memorable song on the album. I think the EDM style they went with on this track fits well with summer. And it as far as like niche goes, like for my listening, I think it kind of like takes up the place that like SHINee's Good Morning started for me last summer. So it's nice. So my only comment on the MV was it's a little too basic for me.
I'm,
Like it's just like
I'm-
set. They're dancing there. It's
I'm half convinced it's like a
the color composition was cool. But that's about it.
I'm half convinced it's like a Hyundai ad. Like there's just like random
yeah,
Hyundai
they had the
cars.
Sonatas parked in the back. Yeah.
No, if you watch the performance, like the choreography version of the music
Yeah.
video, it's just like all Hyundais in the background and they're just doing the choreography.
Yeah, they're just in the
It's-
garage and there's these two Hyundai Sonatas behind them. Yeah.
It's so blatant. I don't know why.
Uh,
Not the worst.
like
product
usually they
placement,
do
though.
like fancy sports cars, but no, they just put these normal family sedans in the back.
Yes, when I think normal family sedan or Hyundai, I think GFriend totally.
Yes. Yes.
What did Nate
exactly.
think of it?
All right. So Nate, he says, GFriend Tropical House. Honestly, kind of happy they did something different, even if it isn't very inspired. As much as I love the GFriend sound, I'm happy to get something to mix it up. Also, I still love Tropical House. That will never change. Piano pre-chorus part is great. Brings the song down enough. Wait, what? Oh, I see what he's saying. Brings the song down enough for the chorus to drop. I was confused when he said it brings the song down, and I was like, you literally just saying you liked it. Brings the song down enough for the chorus to drop. Only thing that I don't like is not giving the amazing vocals the time to shine with the tropical house genre and drop chorus. MV is basically just dancing in static sets with them standing around and singing. They look great, but the choreo is super basic and nowhere near GFriend's level of skill. It's pretty disappointing, to be honest.
Yeah. Cooper's probably the most negative of us on this song. He says, upon first listen, I was trying to be nice, but this song is just a lifeless and sad summer song. The vocals don't shine. The drop is not even catchy for a tropical house song. The MV is pretty basic, though it does have good visuals. The choreography is probably the worst ever. The really dumb-looking arm spins and arm movements. It's kind of sad because of how much I love Time for the Moon Night and Sunrise. I mean, I was kind of like back and forth. I'd say I'd like this more than Sunrise. I mean, I like Sunrise. It's just I feel like I always appreciate GFriend just doing something new, like Nate said.
Yeah. I think I like Sunrise slightly more, but I've also had significantly more time with it. So who knows what I'll say in like 3 months.
Yeah,
but
recency bias, but anti-bias. Anyway,
so
yeah.
oh, you're the reader.
Yeah, I'm reading off. So, moving on, we have Mr. Blue. Definitely good track to follow up Fever with, just 'cause I feel like they have the similar like tropical vibe to it. Definitely more upbeat than Fever was, but yeah, again, it's just another interesting sort of blend of GFriend's signature sound with a tropical like vibe to it. So the chorus I feel like was the most catchy for me, because I feel like the drum track I feel was very much a GFriend, and same thing with like the synths and everything, but and the sort of like violin, like the dun 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 dun. I feel like it's very, I'd say in terms of like going from like on a scale of like GFriend to Tropical House, it definitely trends a bit more towards like the GFriend sound. But again, I feel like that interesting blend is what makes it stand out more than I originally thought it would.
So I thought this was a really good song. I thought it was interesting how, again, it sounds like typical GFriend, but with more of the tropical house sort of sound profile. I think, honestly, what it sounds like to me is that they already had a fully fledged GFriend song with the piano and the strings and stuff set out, and then they like replaced those parts with the synths.
Yeah, just to change it up.
Like that's what it kind of sounds like to me, which isn't a bad thing, but I think what makes the song suffer for me, it's not necessarily with the song, but its placement on the album. I don't think it should have been placed right after Fever, because I think it has too similar of a sound profile. So, yeah, like again, I think it's a great song. I just think the main problem is it's
Where the
main problem it has with the album overall is that it's just bad placement. I don't think it should have followed right after Fever. So Nate, he says, second tropical house song? Is that a fiddle? Question mark, exclamation point. More laid back tropical house song, giving the vocals a little bit more time to shine. Also, the string part is absolutely great. Wish it was longer. The chorus drop really threw me up. All right, he used the wrong through. That's why I was The chorus drop really threw me off in a good way. All glitchiness with the instrumentals and allowing the vocals to go on was a much nice touch, though it still kind of drops normally a bit later. Definitely better instrumentals than Fever. All right, so I guess he's kind of the like flip of me, I guess.
Yeah. He likes the follow up.
Yes.
Cooper says, not really a fan of the vocals here either. I like the chorus a lot more, but still nothing special as a song. So yeah, Cooper, I just don't think he likes this album at all.
Yeah.
Next, we have Smile. I think I've aired these grievances before, because GFriend definitely has some songs where they kind of start sounding like Twice a lot. And I'd say this is one of those songs that sound a lot like Twice. And normally I'd hate it just because I feel, I don't know, it's strays too far away from what I like about them.
Yeah.
But I'd say, like, for as much as it sounds like a bit like too upbeat Twice-ish, especially in the verses, I'd say how catchy the chorus is just makes it up for me more than
definitely.
Like this is like GFriend has like a catalog full of catchy choruses, but this would probably be up there for me in terms of how catchy it is. So yeah, I was surprised at how much I ended up enjoying this song.
So what I said was Smile is a really fun summer feel-good track that I think served as a nice palate cleanser after Mr. Blue, which, as I said, was a bit too similar to the title track. I like the use of the warm-sounding acoustic guitars with the funky bass sounds. And yeah, like you said, the chorus is super catchy. And overall, it's a really, really fun song. I really enjoyed this one. All right, so for Nate, he said a bit more closer to GFriend's usual sound. Could see this on the Sunny Summer
I was
album,
about to say
which
that. Yeah.
I agree with.
Yeah.
Acoustic guitar summer pop song. It's a fun song, but honestly not too remarkable. All right, so he didn't like it as much.
Oh.
At least we continue to get a bit more vocals.
Cooper, on the other hand, says, the smile hook almost ruins the song. The rest is okay. I'm sorry. That's the best part of the song. That is literally the best part of the song. God damn it, Cooper. Next, Cooper
just taking a steaming shit all over this album.
That's usually my job. He's taking my job usually. I'm the weird one that, like, it's usually like with GFriend, it's either like there's nothing in between. It's either I absolutely love it or I absolutely hate it. It's the most stressful group to stand, but I still enjoy it. Anyway, on to Wish, which was written by Mospic. So to remind everyone again of the incredible repertoire of Mospic, he did La Vie en Rose, he did Me by CLC, Amazing. He did Focus by Kim Dong-han, he did Bandit by Hocus Pocus, he did I think he also did Maze by G Idol.
All right, do you mean Hocus Pocus by Bandit?
Bandit, yeah. Bandit. You know what I mean. You definitely feel the type of like synth like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Like this definitely has same vibe as a lot of the other songs that I mentioned there. So, also still manages to fit like GFriend's style. So I think it was a good idea to have Mospic write the songs for or produce this song. It's kind of weird in that usually GFriend songs are very vocal heavy, but in this case, it's I feel like the instrumental, like the dun 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 dun, dun like that sort of like bouncy synth, is just as important as the vocals are. So yeah, it's this. Yeah, again, it's a really nice sort of blend of Mospic's like really trendy electronic synth line with GFriend's kind of almost throwback style that they usually do on their albums.
Yeah.
So I'd say in terms of like drawing similarities to previous GFriend songs, it kind of reminds me a bit of Love Bug. I mean, it doesn't have the key change of Love Bug, but it definitely has a similar vibe to it. So, and I love Love Bug, so probably one of the best GFriend songs. So,
yep. All right, so after Smile, we're back into like the EDM, tropical house, focus songs. Though I really love this song, but like I said before, I think the impact of it is kind of waned because of the other songs it's kind of placed against. However, I think I definitely like this better than Mr. Blue. So I thought the bouncy, funky beats and the instrumental come in really nicely in the chorus, and I think they make for a really another really fun song. So. Also, I really like the parts where the bass gets deeper during some of the transitions. So yeah, great song. Let's see what Nate had to say. All right, Nate says, back to the Tropical House. Much more synth and vocal focus, though. The synth line is fun, but the vocals definitely carry this song. But honestly, once again, there isn't too much to say. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, he's like the opposite of us, or of me at least, where he really liked Mr. Blue and then
didn't like Wish as much.
Wasn't as much on Fever or Wish.
Cooper's thoughts were there's just so many weird choices of the hook and talk singing on this album. I don't know if I'm being overly critical, but the hook and drop choruses are just so basic and tired. Enough with 3 H's. Or Triple H, as he would say. Speaking of garbage.
Speaking of garbage, Triple H. Don't come for us, please, fans, please.
Don't worry, it's a dead group anyway. Anyway, moving on to
Rip.
Probably the best song on this entire album, Paradise.
Yes.
I actually like the sort of they kind of paired together well, Wish into Paradise, which is a cool transition because they're kind of similar key. This might be the best GFriend like album track to ever exist. I'd put it above like Love Bug. I put it above like anything else. Like
above Rainbow? Dude,
yes,
Rainbow's so
yeah,
good.
no, I'd put it above
no
that.
Way.
Yes, I
No
would.
way.
You know me, I love like city pop, like band instrumentals. So hearing like live instrumentals with freaking GFriend and just how jazzy the drum fills are, it's just. Not that I didn't even mention the bass line in this thing is
Yep, the bass line is the center attraction in my opinion.
Oh my god! Like, I'd never expected to hear this on a GFriend album at all. Again, it's just this. It's just the interesting way that they're able to blend GFriend's style of vocals with this drastically different sounding instrumental. It's nothing short of masterful, and I want to hear maybe a single that sounds like this. Like that might be my favorite song of theirs of all time. In all honesty, just because I feel like their vocal talent is so good that just having a live instrumental behind them, it just completely elevates it to a whole new level. So yeah, this was by far was the highlight of the whole album for me.
So in contrast to you, I thought this song felt like more of a return to form for them, like if you're comparing it to the rest of the album at least.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is a bad thing because again, I already liked them a ton prior to this album. Like 2 years ago when we were at KCON, like I was I was like going between Red Velvet, GFriend, and Twice as being like my favorite group of the generation. I mean, obviously, Red Velvet has kind of prevailed there, but yeah, nonetheless, I love GFriend. But yeah, again, the center attraction for this song is the bass line. It's amazing, and it really like chugs the song along and helps to keep like the forward or momentum going. So for Nate, he says, finally something a little more interesting. Definitely the best instrumentals on the album so far. Great funk guitar, bass, and drum parts, all on top of a solid GFriend vocal part.
Cooper is actually like he enjoys this song a lot. He says this album's saving grace. The slap guitar, piano, and drums are such nice touches, and that give that more classic GFriend song I love and the bubbly synths. The song is so fun and has an energy with good vocals. One of my favorite GFriend songs now. Yes. So the rest of his opinions have been very critical, but he does agree that it's just on a completely different level for GFriend.
Yeah.
Next, we're on to Hope. You were talking about return to form, and I feel like this one is definitely a return to form for them. It's very, very old school type of throwback. It's pretty much the most GFriend sounding song on the entire album compared to how like experimental like Fever was. So yeah, they always use that kind of like almost New Jack Swing-esque type of drum track with the vocals.
Yeah.
And I feel like the chorus that they have, like the melody was written very interesting because usually like whenever they do this type of track on new albums, I get kind of bored of it. But I feel like the way they approach the writing of that melody, like especially with Yuju's part, was just a lot more interesting than I thought it'd be.
Yeah.
It's not really that ambitious, but yeah, I think it pretty much is like the very definition of like GFriend comfort food. I feel like I've used that, I coined that term a couple years ago, but it's good GFriend comfort food for me.
So I think it's because of the all rights in the beginning, but the song really reminds me a bit of the Red Velvet song with the same title, All Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall I thought this was a great song. I thought the layered group vocals are definitely the highlight of the song for me. And And again, overall, I thought the vocals were sounding really clean, especially in Yuju's parts. So, let's see what Nate had to say.
Stan Yuju, by the way.
Everyone Stan Yuju,
yeah,
for sure.
She like, I feel like in terms of like the echelon of good female vocalists, she kind of gets she kind of gets shafted a bit in terms of like really good female group vocalists. But yeah, she always kills it on every song.
All right, so Nate says, start off with some great 80s synths, though they weren't utilized much. Overall, a solid instrumental track with some great mix of synths and guitar. It gives off a bit of a retro feel, but a more modern take on it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Strings for the post-chorus instrumental part were a nice touch.
Cooper says, probably the second best song in the album. Nothing standout standard GFriend B-side. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much, you can explain it in a nutshell. Very much a GFriend B-side song. You either hate it or you love it. And closing out the album, well, besides the instrumental, we have Flower, the Korean version. So Flower, for those of you that don't know, was originally released in Japan. Unfortunately, you can't access those on Spotify. I don't know if you can get it on Apple Music, because King Records are kind of allergic to... They're the same people that are like in charge of AKB48, so they're allergic to Spotify. Anyway, I mean, I gave my thoughts on the original version of this when we covered in releases. Basically, my thoughts were just, it's a good song, surprisingly. Like, both this and Memoria are just insanely good for GFriend Japanese songs. Like, usually you give like your Japanese songs are like your throwaways, but I feel like some of GFriend's Japanese songs might be some of their best, just period. So yeah, I mean, I guess I could just reiterate some of it. Like, it has like a really nice like flamenco string section, like the dun 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 dun. Like, it's definitely like the most interesting part. And I mean, GFriend uses strings a lot, but I feel like going for a Latin vibe is definitely an interesting take or an interesting twist to GFriend utilizing string instrumentals a lot. There's also like this like conga drum instrumental that's actually really cool, and it's something you don't really hear all too often. I'd say where the song kind of falls flat for me is just because I feel like for how like weird and cool and interesting sounding the verses were, like they definitely kind of like fall back on your standard GFriend chorus. I mean, it doesn't destroy my enjoyment of the song entirely, but I wish they were ambitious as the rest of the song was, and they did a good job with this in Korean. It sounds just as fluid in Korean as it was in Japanese, which surprises me a lot. Same thing with the Moria. So like whoever like is writing the songs for them, or just because usually one feels weird or one feels right and the other one feels wrong, but both of them actually feel or like sound okay to me, which is a very rare situation. So yeah, whoever's in charge of that, I feel, has done a good job of sort of adapting both songs for both languages.
I love the brass they use in the instrumental. I think that's probably my favorite part. Along with the, I thought the rhythm section was really amazing as well. With the bass, the drum beats, also tambourines every now and again. I thought that was cool. Which you don't really hear tambourine in music that often anymore. So it's
let alone
kind of
GFriend
cool.
music.
Yeah. So yeah, other than that, I don't have as much to say since we already kind of heard it a while back in Japanese, so it's a little hard to describe. But yeah, the vocals and the chorus, everything awesome in this song. It's a really great song. I wish we would have gotten a Korean MV for this. That'd been great.
Or just them to do it on like a live stage or whatever, because it's actually really cool.
Yeah,
like
or just record the Korean, because I like the Japanese MV, so just record the Korean one at the same time or something.
Just like what YG does, they just like replace the they just replace the instrumental and they just use the same MV, just save money. So
yep. All right, so Nate.
I mean, he reviewed it with me, so I wonder.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't have much else to say.
So what he said is the most GFriend sounding song on the album. Tons of strings, vocal focus, some nice brass touches. If you weren't a fan of the change this album had with GFriend style, you probably at least enjoyed this song. I thought it was solid, having not heard the original version.
We reviewed it, though, Nate. We did it on releases, dude. Anyway, Cooper says, quite a step down from Memoria, though not bad. I mean, yeah, I'd still put Memoria over it, but it's kind of like a 1A, 1B type of situation. I just think both songs are excellent. Yeah. I do appreciate that. Like a lot of groups, they get, like I said before, they usually just like half-ass their Japanese releases and hope that it gets popular, but they definitely put a lot of thought into it. So that closes out the review section. We're going to get into scores. This is probably one of the weirdest albums I've scored, in all honesty, just because like I'm probably the only one that likes, I'm probably the one that likes it the most out of all of us. So for single, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 3.5, surprisingly. And again, Fever just seems so divisive among most people, at least in our Discord community, but I think it's good. I want to, for someone that rolls on and on and on about like experimenting and just going outside the comfort zone, I have to kind of reward GFriend for doing just that. So 3 out of 3.5 for how Fever came out. Same score, 3 points for the album. Again, I think most songs here were good. Maybe like Smile or just, I don't know, and maybe Flower. Again, I feel like the original song better would have been improved the score, but I feel like, I liked most of the songs on the album. I feel it's, a lot of their albums are usually like top heavy or just usually like very single focused, but I feel it was very cohesive in how much I enjoyed the entire album. I have to give 1.5 out of 3 for concept though, because it was barely a concept. There's like no purpose to whatever like the music video set was. Like they're just like it's like a bunch of random sets and them doing tropical house dances. So there really isn't a concept here.
Yep.
So that's a 7.5 for me. But I'd say like it seems low, but I'd say most of that's due to concept. I love almost all of the music on here.
For sure. So for music, I gave it 5.5 out of 7. Just because I really like the title track, and there are a few really good songs on the album as well for me, like Smile, Wish, Paradise, Flower. I thought those were all really awesome. Mr. Blue, I don't know, the balance still out on Mr. Blue for me. I think it's just, again, because of the placement. So overall, I gave it a 5.5 for music. Concept, I gave, again, as like you said, 1.5 out of 3 because there really isn't one. Yeah. Like the MV was fine, I guess, but like there really wasn't anything to it. It's just a bunch of sets. I at least gave it some points just for it being interesting, like color wise, I guess. And I thought the album art was pretty cool looking with like the desert, like red, blue, purple, orange desert shot they got there.
Why does the album art like describe the concept better than the actual music video?
Yeah,
that kind of pisses me off. Like I understand the concept more from their freaking album art than what they spent millions of dollars to film.
So overall, 7 out of 10 for me.
What Nate give it?
Nate. All right, Nate says, overall, this album was pretty unremarkable for GFriend. I like the decision to try and change it up with a more tropical house vibe, and it worked for Mr. Blue, but most of the other songs are pretty unremarkable. The end of the album picks it up a bit, but overall not their best work. MV was fine, styling was great, choreo was disappointing. Honestly, my concept points, I was a little generous, but I really like the styling. Yeah, that's one thing I also really liked. I love the styling for this comeback.
It's the only saving grace of that concept.
Yeah. So music, Nate gave a 5. Concept, he gave a 1.5, and overall he gave a 6.5 out of 10.
6.5 out of 10. Cooper has probably the lowest score, and he leaves
the biggest oof.
Yeah, he gives this message. I think this is their worst album yet. Really, only one standout track. The concept didn't do anything for me either. Hopefully, they get one more comeback this year to end on a high note. I do agree with that. He gives a 4 out of 7 for music, a 1 out of 3 for concept, for a 5 out of 10. So,
Jesus.
Doing the math,
I think it's like a 6 average.
Yeah, something like that. So,
6.5.
Sorry, GFriend. I mean,
we tried.
Like, I don't know. I understand the gripes that everyone has with it, and again, I'm usually the one that's right there with you in terms of like wanting them to sort of do something different or do something more interesting.
I feel like that's what this was, though.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I That's the thing. I can't blame them. And I mean, that's the thing. That's what I'm afraid of all the time is that they try something, everyone just nopes out of it completely, and then they just never try anything again. And I don't think that's a good approach to music just in general. Honestly, and I do, yeah. Who knows? I mean, I'm sure buddies will like everything, but I feel,
Hopefully.
hopefully they like it. I mean, hopefully they don't get rabid over this song because it is really good. It's just, I think it's good to let the girls just sort of experiment a little bit. You can only do so many of the same type of GFriend song over and over again, but I'd say, between this and the previous album, which again was Time for Us or whatever, I'd probably prefer this just because I can't remember any songs off of the previous album besides Sunrise. I'm sorry, but like that's when I think was peak frustration. Whereas I feel this I'm a lot more accepting of. Much in the same vein, I loved Sunny Summer as well. So I guess I have something for just GFriend in the summer.
Summer albums.
It's like GFriend in summer is like twice in the fall.
Twice in the fall.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Knew you were gonna say that.
So yeah, 6.5. I'm sorry, GFriend. I mean, I do enjoy this album more than that score would indicate, but yeah, it is what it is. So. Did you like Fever? Did you like this new adventurous tropical house sound from GFriend? Did you think it was boring? Did you like Paradise as much as I did? Did you think any of the other songs should have been the single? Definitely let us know in the comments.
Yep.
So, that'll do it.
That'll do, pig. That'll do. All right. So, I guess with that, thanks for listening. Subscribe on YouTube if you watch there. Make sure to... obviously subscribe on podcast services if that's where you listen.
Click the bell
join Discord.
Icon.
What?
Click the bell icon. We have to start saying that now, so people get our notifications. Okay.
Yeah. Click the bell, I guess. Join Discord. We do a lot of cool stuff on there. We do discography listens. We do song rating stuff. Our last one we just did was we rated every song in Red Velvet's discography.
Oh boy, and not the song. Oh boy.
yeah. No pun intended. We got a bunch of channels talk about tons of stuff. K-pop, obviously. We got some artist-specific channels: IOI 101, Eyes One, From Luna. And we also have some off-topic stuff: movies, gaming, whatever you're into. You can talk about it there with us. So, yeah. Oh, you mean the fighting sports channel?
Yes. G1 is going on. G1 Climax is going on right now, so we're talking about a lot of that.
Yeah. Anyways, join Discord. It's Mucho Lit, and thanks for listening. What do we have on our plates soon? Anything?
Umu's supposed to show up next week? Question mark. I hope so. Still,
maybe TM.
Yeah, I mean, she seems on board so far, but yeah, we plan on reviewing day 6. So we have that and some other topics on hand. Maybe do it live. I don't know, depending on schedule, because we did the last one with Umu live, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. We'll look forward to getting a lot of new members, both in Discord and in just, I don't know, community as well. So, yep. I'd say that's it. We have nothing else. I can't afford any concerts. I have to save up for Japan.
Yes. So, thanks for watching / listening, and come back next week, please.
Please. Stay bacon.
Stay throbbingly bacon.
Damn, I want some bacon now, man. I haven't eaten bacon in like a week, I think.
Me too.
Still don't know why they just randomly did highlight and then it was separate from the rest of their set.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was Everglow influence, like them having more time, because it was separate from the rest of their songs, which none of the artists did. The only time they had separate